It's the midweek. It's another beautiful new day. And also note, there are 66 more days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. I guess I'm in a hurry, huh? Welcome to the AM show. Now, what can you expect? You know the drill. We're going to be serving you the news shortly, followed by the news review. Joining us, Dr. Kwame Asante. He is, of course, a political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. That will be followed by sports with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. And then we get into our big stories. Now, the Electoral Commission is set to allow live coverage of all IPAC meetings henceforth as they tout their track record of delivering free, fair, and transparent elections. But how does this unprecedented move remove the suspicion and create consensus building and the peace needed for election 2024? We saw what happened yesterday, but how about the ones that are to come? And there was a bit of rancor. We'll be telling you all about that when we get into that all-important issue. Now, on today's Climate Focus, we take a look at an initiative that is equipping conservation practitioners and managers with innovative approaches to preserve and rejuvenate Ghana's endangered tree species and their natural habitats. Stay tuned for that as we talk about our climate and put it in sharp focus. Well, also coming up, as the shortage of LPG hits some parts of Accra, the National Petroleum Authority says it is in talks with the LPG marketers to ward off the shortage. James Ashen will be telling us more about that on AM Business. And I have a question for you this morning. I want to start off from there. There have been some power outages in different parts of Accra, different parts of the country. I've got a lot of calls, and I traveled sometime last week. When I came back, I suspected, because when I looked at my fridge, I suspected a few things that happened. Yesterday, a little after 6 p.m., power went off. The question is, what is happening? What is your status? Have you experienced this doomsday? Please let us know across the live feed, and we'll be sure to share with the world and get solutions for that. Well, that's what you can expect this morning on the show. But let's settle for the news right up next. Welcome to the news. Now our first story. The majority of Ghanaian workers may not show up for work starting October 10, 2024. And here's why. The organized labor has declared a nationwide strike. The group explains its decision is driven by the failure of government to meet its ultimatum of halting all forms of mining in forest reserves across the country. TUC, a couple of days, tabled 3 demands, including the immediate evacuation of all mining equipment in forest reserves and around water bodies. They also asked for the deployment of the police and the military with full orders to remove or destroy all mining equipment and other equipment. However, after a week, organized labor says the government has failed to act and has therefore resolved to withdraw their services. That is effective October 10, 2024. Blessed Soga has the rest of the story.
As activities of illegal mining continue to ravage major river bodies in Ghana, the Trades Union Congress says it is unhappy with government's failure to crack down on illegal mining. As a result, worker unions under the umbrella body have resolved to lay down their tools effective October 10.
Organized labor met at an emergency meeting today, October 1st, 2024. Following the expiration of our deadline and the failure of government to meet our demands on illegal mining, that is Galamsey, organized labor has decided to declare a nationwide strike with effect from October 10th, 2024.
In an earlier release to the press, organized labor tabled 3 demands, including, quote, an immediate declaration of a state of emergency in line with provisions of the 1992 Constitution, and also the need to halt all forms of mining, legal or illegal, in forest reserves around water bodies. It is unclear if government will yield to the demands of the group, but it is likely that workers may remain at home until their concerns are resolved. Let us go for Joy News, Accra.
Well, now the opposition NDC is left standing alone with only the Progressive People's Party backing its call for a forensic audit of the voters' register and IT system of the Electoral Commission. 8 registered political parties, including the governing MPP, have all been giving a thumbs up to the EC after it announced measures it had taken to resolve some discrepancies in the voters' register ahead of the crucial 2024 election. It will be recalled that following the admission by the EC that its officers had illegally transferred voters in Pusiga, the NDC claimed to have identified even more discrepancies to anchor their demand for a forensic audit. In a historic IPAC meeting broadcast live, the EC announced a raft of measures it had taken up to clean the register. Kwekwa Asante of our Political Affairs Desk reports.
Dr. Yao Forieje, Director of IT at the Electoral Commission, isolated the specific allegations and claims that have been made against the Electoral Commission by the NDC and responded to them separately. According to him, the Electoral Commission has specifically dealt with all the challenges that the NDC raised, and in particular, some of them are just spurious.
In our minds, we can't see how you can delete somebody by transferring them, because transfers are allowed. So you can't delete somebody by transferring them. I also like to say that the way the voter management system is designed, and indeed ABIS, once you get registered onto the system, we went on further and looked at the transaction history of the particular voter within our database. By 2020, at 10:19 a.m., at the True Vine Preparatory School, JHS, near Boyman, with polling station number C150704. This gentleman, on the 22nd of October 2020, at 4:35 p.m., registered for special voting and was moved to the Achimota College Police Station, C1502 SPS. That is a special polling station that he registered for.
But the NDC came in forcefully, according to Dr. Eduardo Maneboama, who is the NDC's Director of Elections and IT. The Electoral Commission has simply shown itself not trustworthy enough.
When your roof is leaking, you can decide to mop, keep mopping, and keep mopping. Or you can decide to fix the leakage and mop. What we see here is mopping and mopping and mopping. Fixing the leakage is missing. This forensic audit is not just about the register. When you have fixed the register, and I will demonstrate to you how, as a result of our revelations, some aftermath fixing is providing a semblance of we are fixing it. When we fix it, and we all look at the hard copies, and we are all giving the PVR, the soft copies, in November, if the very criminals that got us here are still there, engaged in illegal transfers, we will come back to square one.
The New Patriotic Party, represented by the General Secretary, a former National Chairman, and the Director of Elections, all had their bite. But the substantive argument that was made by the NPP was that they raised similar issues in 2015. The NDC did not support them. And in fact, they've also gone through these claims that have been made by the NDC, and they have simply no legs to stand on.
It's not a question about having a leaking roof and mopping your floor. It's about the data, what you presented to the Electoral Commission. The whole people of Ghana want to see it. And that is the comment APC made, that even the request for forensic audit is needless at this point, because we are yet to see those allegations that you are talking about. And the Electoral Commission has said that they are going to furnish us with the cleanup that they have done. So, Madam Chair, we also want to know from you when we can have the revised exercise that you have done, so that we can also have another look. It is afterward that if there is a need for us to convey again, then the issues that you are talking about, we can even think about or even consider.
Some of the political parties did support the NDC's call for a forensic audit, others did not.
I feel that an independent audit will rather boost the credibility and image of the voter register. Because just imagine if an independent auditor comes and says, well, the register is 100% clean. That one, it is not the EC saying it. Because what Dr. Ufori said, I mean, the presentation is nice, but it is the EC speaking.
So in auditing, this will be classified as immaterial. So no auditor will spend time to work on that because it's immaterial.
There's no problem asking for a forensic audit. But the problem here is that we are only holding a provisional voter register. And that allows for correction and allows for updates.
Electoral Commission Chairperson Madam Jean Mensah has been assuring that the Commission will always keep transparency as its watchdog and ensure that in the lead up to the 2024 general election, there will be enough for persons to know that the Electoral Commission is trustworthy.
The Commission felt that it was in our interest to demystify the Commission and to remove the cloaks of secrecy that had hitherto shrouded our operations. And so today, from A to Z, from registration to the declaration of results, all our processes are open to the public. And that is the beauty of our democracy.
She has also been announcing that in the coming days, the Electoral Commission will allow journalists in to witness and record IPAC proceedings.
As part of the Commission's efforts to ensure transparency and accountability in all its processes, we have decided that this meeting and all subsequent IPAC meetings will be covered by the media.
As we know now, the NDC is scheduled to have some high-level meetings to decide on their next line of action. The NDC says it is keeping all its cards on the table, and this will include protest. According to Dr. Doromane Boama, the Electoral Commission's word cannot be taken for it, and that is why they are going to have a meeting and decide whether or not this call for a forensic audit will be modified, as the Electoral Commission and others have been calling, or they will keep at it with barely 60 days to the 2024 general election. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Alisa Hotel, Accra.
And some interesting scenes there from that IPAC gathering. But on to our next story. NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has pledged to establish agricultural mechanization centers in every district across the country to boost farmers' productivity. Speaking during his campaign tour of the Sefiri traditional area, Dr. Bawumia compared these proposed centers to the DRIP project introduced by the Akufo-Addo administration.
The Toswa, because I'm here, Emma Equiafo, said a FDA ako every district biano. Sana maybe here for agricultural equipment. Every district here, Benya District Agri Mechanization Center. Not tractors, every equipment, every district, sir, Yedebua Equiafo.
Well, he also highlighted the medical drone delivery service initiated by the MPP government, emphasizing that Ghana remains the global leader in this technology.
We set up 6 medical drone delivery centers for Ghana. Bako was also Eddie Mojane a drone because Oko Ifomana will walk Kawa, Uhia anti-snake serum immediately. Drone no bit me adiafa abreo na saa ihihye no yede aba no amagana sese wiase nyina yekofa free America baha, but wiase nyina the whole world, Ghana is the leading medical drone delivery service in the whole world.
Let's talk health now. And the Ghana Health Service in the northern region is aiming at immunizing over 400,000 children in this year's mass measles rubella vaccination and vitamin A supplementation campaign. According to the service, the Ghana Demographic and Health Surveys for 2022 and 2023 indicate coverage of 56.5% and 76.9% respectively, which falls significantly short of the 95% target required to achieve measles elimination. Therefore, this year's mass vaccination exercise includes an effective strategy to reach children who have been missed by routine services. There's more in this report.
The objective of the immunization is to reduce measles and rubella morbidity by preventing new cases and associated complications, improve access to measles and rubella vaccination service for all children, especially those in underserved communities and high-risk districts. Addressing the media at the Northern Regional Launch, the Northern Regional Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Abdullahi Abukari, said elimination of measles is possible if population immunity is kept at more than 95% coverage over long periods through routine immunization.
Vaccination coverage has stagnated for some time now. More than 10% of our children are unreached with immunization services. Therefore, continued efforts are required to fully protect all our children from vaccine-preventable diseases. In order to achieve measles elimination, 2 doses of measles rubella vaccine are needed. And we as Ghana Health Service, with a mandate to provide primary health care, are expected to cover about 95% of routine coverage with 2 doses of measles rubella vaccine.
He said the Northern region is also set to roll out its malaria immunization across the 16 districts of the region.
Fortunately for us as a region, the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, with support from partners, is rolling out malaria vaccine into our routine immunization schedule in selected regions of which Northern region is part. So let me alert all of us, especially caregivers, that the Northern region is also rolling out malaria vaccine into our routine immunization from today, the 1st of October 2024. It is interested to give you information to let you know that Ghana piloted the malaria vaccine implementation program alongside other African countries such as Kenya and Malawi. That is from 2019 to 2023. The objectives of the pilot were to assess the feasibility of administering the recommended 4 doses of vaccine in children, the safety of the vaccine in the context of routine use, and the vaccine's potential role in reducing childhood mortality.
Now, the spokesperson of the National Democratic Congress and representative of the party's flag bearer, John Mahama, at the University Teachers Association of Ghana Dialogue Series, Professor George K.T. Odro, has lashed out at the New Patriotic Party for the hurried and reckless manner they handled the education sector, which has resulted in serious distortions in the sector. He penciled acute infrastructural deficits, erratic academic calendar, inadequate investments on the professional needs of teachers, delayed payment of food suppliers as some of the fundamental operational challenges inhibiting education in the country. Now, Professor George K.T. Odro made the statement at the UTAC Political Parties Dialogue Series at Drapa, promising to change the tide should the NDC win at the December polls. Joy News Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Drapa.
The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAC, provides a platform for political parties, groupings to share their vision and policy proposals on critical national issues including education, economy, inclusive governance, energy, and the environment. The engagement between the opposition National Democratic Congress (NDC) and UTAC is therefore to understand what the former will do should they be voted into power. The engagement also affords members of UTAC the opportunity to ask questions pertaining to the party's policy proposals. National President of UTAC, Professor Mamadou A. Akudugu, set the tone for the engagement.
See this as a friendly engagement that we believe will help shape the policy frameworks
that you want to implement when given the opportunity by Ghanaians to lead us from January 7, 2025. We have already shared with you some of the areas we believe we needed to have these conversations on. There are some general areas that affect almost everybody, and there are specific areas that affect the academic community that we want answers as to how you want to address them for us.
Professor George K.T. Oduro, who is the representative of John Dramani Mahama and the NDC party spokesperson on education, drew the first blood, lashing out at the governing New Patriotic Party NPP for the hurried and harem-scarum manner they handle the education sector, which has resulted in severe distortions.
Acute infrastructural deficit, an erratic academic calendar, inconsistent curricula, inadequate investment in the professional needs of teachers, delayed payment of food suppliers to schools, indiscipline, poor industrial relations leading to prolonged and unresolved strikes, inadequate teaching and learning materials, over 5,000 basic schools still operating under trees.
Now, a record-breaking 157 schools are gearing up for academic supremacy as the 2024 National Science and Math Quiz heads to the Central Region, Ghana's citadel of education, for the first time in its 31-year history. During the launch of this year's edition, Managing Director of Primetime Limited, Nanekia Mensah-Bonsu, revealed that the competition would see its largest participation ever. My colleague Jacqueline Ansuma has more in the following report.
Today's contest is like Kingdom Filipino Fighter.
For over 3 decades, the National Science and Math Quiz has earned its place as a beacon of educational excellence in Ghana, producing some of the nation's sharpest minds. Each year, the competition ignites fierce rivalry and showcases the best of high school intellectual talent. But this year, the stakes are higher than ever. During the launch of this year's edition, Managing Director of Primetime Limited, Nanekia Mensah-Bonsu, revealed that this year's contest will see the highest number of participating schools ever.
We started the regional qualifiers in, we did May, June, and July. That's when we had our qualifiers and our championships. Yeah. And then we have some new schools that have qualified this year.
What are those new schools?
Umase, Sirigu, Presby SHS Bompata, and I think Kufieje and Sewa Nyaku girls. So we are saying hello to them for the first time. We have 8 private schools also participating. So this year we have the largest number that we've ever had at the National Championship. Wow. 157 schools at the National Championship.
Reigning champions, Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, are back to defend their crown. Confident and battle-ready, Presec is eager to prove once again that they are the team to beat in this year's contest.
Confident that the Lord is going to take us to. Okay. Yes, please.
You sure this year you're taking the championship once again?
Yes.
Are you sure this year? What are we expecting from you guys?
I suggest that you expect the best because there's a God that we serve and we know that He will not disappoint us. We know that He will not fail us. He has given us a victory, not once, but twice, and we are believing that this will be the 3rd time He will give us the victory.
For Presec, you always prepare for this competition. I hope you get it. And the issue is that we really serve a nice God. As you know, this year we are going to take our 9th trophy.
With 42 contests set to take place in the preliminary stage on 14th October, it's shaping up to be a thrilling showdown of wit, knowledge, and strategy. Which school will rise to the top? For Joy News, I am Jacqueline Ansuma Yabora.
Well, let's settle for our business updates up next. In our first story, government has started rolling out a fresh set of measures to compensate farmers affected by the recent dry spell that hit parts of the country. Some of them include access to credit, farm inputs, and an effective grain supply system for farmers. Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Brian Champong, disclosed this during a media engagement yesterday.
We have this morning commenced the distribution of 118,000 metric tons of fertilizers and 5,133 metric tons of seeds to 800,000 smallholder farmers nationwide. The idea is to supply these inputs to farmers in the southern sector and the northern sector because the raining season or the planting season for the southern sector just about started. The savanna and the transition, they are due for the application of urea because they planted a couple of weeks ago. So 118,000 metric tons of fertilizers and 5,133 metric tons of seeds will be supplied to 800,000 smallholder farmers nationwide. That is farmers cropping 2 acres and farmers cropping under 2 acres. Every farmer will receive 2 bags of NPK and 1 bag of urea and the corresponding maize or rice seed.
In a bid to attract the African diaspora back to its roots, Ghana is rolling out the red carpet with a Ghana Diaspora Home Purchase Expo 2024. This groundbreaking initiative, which is a collaboration between HTS Construction and the Ghana Tourism Authority, aims at welcoming diasporans home, offering a unique opportunity to invest in Ghana's thriving real estate market. Lawyer Osei Wusu is the director of HTS Construction.
The event being organized in December 2024, precisely on the 13th, is the Ghana Diaspora Home Purchase Expo. And the platform is to matchmake and give the opportunity for real estate developers and real estate purchasers to come together and transact. The idea is to avail the opportunity for all the beautiful developments, beautiful units that are coming up in Accra and elsewhere in Ghana, to avail this opportunity to our friends and brothers in the diaspora to purchase the property. We are indicating that the hotel prices, lodgement fee is quite expensive if you compare Ghana to elsewhere in the sub-region and worldwide. Our hotel prices are very, very expensive. So the opportunity to run Airbnb or private home rentals for short stay, medium stay, long stay is a good opportunity for investors and also even for income generation. And not only for investors in the real estate industry, but also people who are passive investors. We are encouraging professionals, doctors, accountants, teachers, engineers, etc., to also use this opportunity to own property. Whilst they own the property and they are not resident in Ghana, whilst they are away to their base, those units will be available.
Well, to cap it all off, we give you our currency market for today. And that's how we conclude the news all together. But stay with us. Up next, we'll be joined by Dr. Kwame Asante. He's political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies. He joins me for the news review. We'll be back. Welcome back on the AM show. It's time now for us to get into the news review. But before we do, some announcements. The Energy Commission and Ministry of Energy, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana TVET Service, presents the 5th edition of the Energy Commission's Senior High Schools Renewable Energy Challenge. This challenge aims at developing the research skills of senior high school students and promoting technological innovation in renewable energy. Competing fiercely in this thrilling competition are the following schools: Obuasi SHTS, St. James Seminary SHS, Ola Girls SHS, Ahantaman Girls SHS, Kwando SHS, and Dabokba Technical Institute. We invite you to join us for the grand finale on Tuesday, the 8th of October 2024 at the Accra International Conference Center. You can also catch the live broadcast on Joy News, this network, at 9 a.m. This event is proudly supported by GIZ, Ashesi University, the French Development Agency, and the VRA. Well, joining me for a conversation this morning is Dr. Kwame Asante. He is a political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, memoache na pome.
Yaura, muye papa na onse.
Adomara kwa eka nipa anka ya ye bibi enso nyaminti ye da so tias. Okay, right. So let's do this. I'll give you your usual shot. Talking about something that is a burning issue, something that you're really concerned about. Over to you, Doc.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Ben, and good morning to our viewers and listeners as well. I want to touch on a recent statement by the MP for Efijase Asokore constituency, in the person of Dr. Nana Ayew Efriye. He made a statement to the effect that NPP government is not going to stop the Galamsey today or tomorrow or even forever. For me, that statement is nothing but a very shameful statement, and it's so worrying that if you look at everything about the MP, this should not come from him at all. You are talking about somebody who is a legislator and a head of Health Committee of Parliament, which is responsible for the maintenance of our health at all times. Remember, this is a representative of the people, right, representing our interests, our opinions, aspirations, and all our goals. And this is what he has to say. What is even worse is the fact that he's a medical doctor, and that he takes care of the health of the people at all times. He has sworn an oath to protect our health at all times. And look at it. More interesting is the fact that his association that he belongs is what the Ghana Medical Association, in conjunction with other groups, have also issued a statement about this. Is he trying to undermine the very statement from the group that he belongs? It is a sorry story. I was expecting nothing but the best from an MP, and nothing but the best from what? A medical or doctor. It is not for nothing, I want to tell you, that Plato, in his book, The Republic, said that governance must be handled by those who are intellectually fit. In other words, bring scholars to the sphere of politics so that they can shape the frontiers of governance. If this is all that he can give to politics, then we need to look at Plato's statement again and revise it if there is a need to be. But I'm not sure that Plato's statement needs a revision. He has gone past the red line, and that we are bringing him to line. That, look, it shouldn't come from him. If you cannot do anything, silence is golden. You just keep quiet. But to bring this thing, because the essence, according to Plato, to have philosopher kings, people bringing intellectuals to the game of politics, is that when you leave politics to people who are not highly educated and all that, you are likely to have and undermine what? Governance system. Is that all that he can show to us? What, by this statement, what does he want the ordinary man who has little or no education? What do you expect him to say? What does he, do you expect that person to talk about scholars who they think that they are the epitome of everything, they are the eyes and noses of society, and this is all that he can give to us? But he must remember that from what? Aristotle. He's saying that anybody who doesn't rule, or any government who doesn't rule in the interest of the people, that government is nothing but what? A useless government. And I don't want him to what? Put the government into that category, because I know the government is not. And that some of these statements will go a long way to affect the credibility, the chances of the government. And that I expect the government and the party to call him to order.
Well, interesting thoughts you've brought to bear, Doc. Let me just add this. Of course, it is very worrying, the fact that he's a medical doctor. He is helming the health committee in Parliament. So for me, when I heard it, I was taken aback. But I've come to realize that politics is what it is in this country. And you were maybe in a way also referring to the concept of a philosopher king, if you want to go back. And
yes,
these we read, you know, back in school, right? I am sorry to say, but I don't think it's either. A lot of our politicians, they are very well trained. Some of them, they are of the Oxbridge, you know, group, Oxford, Cambridge. Some of them, you would have some of them from the Ivy League institutions, Penn State, MIT, Harvard, all these institutions. But if you are not able to bring your thinking to bear on matters of national scope, then I think your education is useless. But I don't think that it is not that they don't know. I think it is that politics, it's like a cloud that covers their faces, covers them, so that they know the right thing, but they don't do it and they don't say it. I always say there are so many politicians from different sides. This ruling administration, so many have come, sat in the studio with me. We have engagements with them before we go on air and after we go on air. Some of them will tell you before we go on air, oh, but when they come on air, it's a totally different thing. They will do their best to defend it. Some others will come, and afterwards, recently, someone came on the news review, and later when the person left, you know, there was an interaction, and the person was like, oh, you know what you are saying is right, but I can't agree with you on air. So the duplicity is our problem. I don't think it is that they don't know that this is right. But having said that, just a quick point. Just about, is it 2 days ago, the running mate of the NDC, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, also said, to my horror, to my shock, that, listen, when we come, we are going to train galamseyers so that they know how to do it in a sustainable manner. Now, I've heard some people try to explain away that, oh, she mistook or lumped up small-scale miners and galamseyers. I am not here to explain for her. She chose her words. The point is, this rhetoric is very worrying because we see how bad the political class has handled it. And I think it is egregious that a running mate would say that. She's someone I respect a lot, but I think she should do her research well on such a subject before speaking to it again. And just to add to that, I just saw this message from Dr. Ken Ashigbe. We know the role he's played in this fight against galamsey. His latest piece, which he's shared, he says, let nobody deceive you about timing. We have been fighting the scourge of galamsey since 2017. Now, the critical matter of illegal mining, galamsey, has come to a head. We have turbidity at 14,000 NTUs. We need to act now together as a country. It is about today's generation and the next generation and not the next elections. It's not about NDC or MPP. It is about all of us and whether we survive or not. We would not allow any political party to take advantage of this action by all well-meaning Ghanaians. His Excellency, the current president, should act now declaring the state of emergency over the water bodies, their buffers and the forest reserves, and stop the decline now. Then the NDC and MPP presidential candidates should declare open support for the action and commit to continuing same if they come into office on the 7th of January 2025. Hashtag Stop Galamsey Now. That is Dr. Ken Ashigbe. Well, let's get into the papers now, and I'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. We won't fail you, EC assures parties. There's NHIS should provide free cover to people above 60 years. That's according to a lecturer. Mahama urges clergy to show interest in elections. Maybe not partisan interest, because we've seen some of them show interest, yes, but partisan interest. And you wonder what is happening to the clergy. Nyansafuono, I don't know whether we found them. Stop stigmatization against breast cancer victims. That's according to a survivor. And government and the GERSAL to provide 166 million Ghana cedis interest-free loans to farmers. So let's get into the stories now. I'm sure you followed portions, at least, of the IPAC encounter yesterday, Doc. No. Let's get into that story. Yes. The Electoral Commission has asked all political parties and other stakeholders in the general election to trust it to deliver a credible register and elections. Quoting the chair, she says, "We assure you and the good people of Ghana we are working tirelessly to ensure that the 2024 election is free, fair, credible, and transparent." The chairperson of the EC, Jean Mensah, stated, "Now, as the body mandated by Article 45A of the 1992 Constitution to compile the register of voters and revise it at such periods as may be determined by law, we urge you to trust us to perform our functions as enshrined in the Constitution." As she averred and stressed that, quote, "We will not fail you and we will not disappoint you." Let me look at other aspects. Now, there was the first televised IPAC meeting, and the EC chair said that subsequent ones will also be televised, and we in the media are very happy about it. The IPAC meeting was organized by the EC to engage registered political parties, and there were a matter of matters that came up. For example, the IT consultant to the EC, Dr. Yao Fourier, stated that the country's electoral register was as clean as anyone could get, robust and ready for the 2024 elections. What do you think about this comment, especially with the positioning of the NDC still? And I'm also curious to find out what you thought about statements by some of the political parties. Some saying, no, we still need a forensic audit. Others saying, no, this should suffice. What is your take?
Yes, I'll look at it from two perspectives. One, the NDC still positioned that they need a forensic audit, and that I also heard Dr. Omanibuama saying that they will not release all the information for strategic reason and all that. I'm surprised to hear that. Because if the whole business is to help to rid the register of certain anomalies and all that, that will undermine the fortunes of the election. And you have information, why don't you give it up?
Right.
You have commended the EC that what you give to them, they will work on that and all that. What is it again that you want to hide from them? For what? If the whole essence is to ensure that you have a register that is fit for purpose, if you have anything, surrender it. And the way you commended the EC, in the same way, they will do a good job for you to look at it, and then whether you want to commend or condemn, the decision is yours. So right. I don't get it. The other bit, those who said that, yes, we still need forensic audit, and those who said we don't need them. My position on it is that, look, if you listen to the EC and the fact that the EC admitted that some of the things that NDC put out as some of the worrying signs, they've been able to deal with them, and they acknowledge that indeed that happened. For me, is the way to go. The fact that there was somebody sitting somewhere and manipulating the system,
right,
was bad enough to undermine the whole system.
Are you talking of Pusiga?
Exactly so.
Right.
So, for the EC to accept that position of the NDC, it tells you that they are ready to do a good job. What is more interesting is that they have even promised that after the cleanup, they will also give you opportunity to what? Go through the register again, I think for the last time. For me, these are all transparency processes. So those, I believe that the NDC should look at their position and then do something drastically to change that position, because what you provided, they work with it. So why are you hiding something from them?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure you're obfuscated, and so am I, because I've had numerous encounters with some of them, Dr. Rashid, Tanko-Computer, for example, and asked about, okay, so if you have some other concerns, why don't you bring them to bear? But yes. I do not know what the strategy is, though they have said time without number that it is strategic, because you don't want to cry over spilt milk, right? You want to bring matters to the fore, and if there are other issues, bring them up while they say you strike the iron while it's still hot. You make hay while the sun still shines. So I don't know, but I'm not a strategist for them. And
no, it is a non-starter. That strategy doesn't help anybody. If the intention is to help to get a register that is fit for purpose, I think that strategy must be thrown away, and then provide the information and then monitor the process. I want to see a situation where those machines that have been tampered with, they will be able to do a good job on them, and then the party will satisfy themselves that what they've done is nothing but the best for the exercise. That's it.
All right. Let me run this by you. There are two more things I want to run by you on the IPAC meeting. So, Dr. Abu Sakara Foster, founder of the National Interest Movement, he's also written on this. He says the EC must yield now in the national interest. And this is what he says. IPAC is a sham, if only used to justify the EC's predetermined position. The use of rent a party participants to blindly support its position without cogent arguments is a disgrace and not a debate. The very composition of IPAC, which effectively mutes the voice of independent contestants in the electoral contest, is questionable. All presidential aspirants must have representation in any conversation. It goes on, and he says the EC must not be left to the full luxury of creating contrived institutions and instruments that bolster its position as an unchallenged referee in a match where it is perceived to have vested interests and a weighted hand by virtue of its intransigence to full transparency. What do you think of this? Because for me, I felt IPAC meeting, but then I listened to some of the speakers, and you would almost think they either were of a certain political orientation or they were smack in the corner of the EC. And let me just put it bluntly. I listened to Akbalu, for example, speak from the start, and I was asking myself, okay, he left me scratching my head. Even more was Equiadonko, who didn't speak to the issues, but castigated a certain political party. And I was asking myself at a point, are these politicians speaking in the interest of the nation and their political interests, or is there something more amiss? I felt some of the comments yesterday were downright disgraceful. But then again, I don't belong to those political parties. And I don't know what the IPAC has become, but these are the thoughts of Dr. Abu Sakara Foster. Quick reactions, and then we can go into other stories.
I think Dr. Sakara is trying to ask for reforms. Reforms within the IPAC, which cannot be done now. So I'm sure he's aware of that. If anything, they can look at it beyond the elections. But now, if we want reforms in IPAC, it's too late in the day. What we have is the best that can happen to us. We must make do with it. But
I don't know about the reforms, though, but he is saying that it appears some of the political attendees yesterday had been rented, that their thoughts had been bought. That's what he's saying.
Yes, I'll come to that. The reforms come from the point that even independent people have not been given opportunity to be represented in there. It's a reform he's asking for. Right. Because the IPAC is made up of what? Political parties. So individuals who are independent members will never be there. You get it? It's the reforms he's asking for. But that aside, I agree with him on the score that if you look at some of the comments from those who believe that there should not be EC should not grant the request of NDC. I found it very strange, but I dismissed them because all that I'm looking forward to is that, one, NDC, what they put on the table, is it the truth or not? EC has admitted to some of them. And for me, that is how we approach the issue. Then what is the EC doing about it? The EC has done A, B, C, and all that. What is left to be done is what I'm looking forward to, that the machines that we are going to use, how reliable are they going to be? And I want the EC to also focus on that. Then after everything, bring the document to the people to go through. And then my last proposal is that, what I want to find after everything is that, are we sure that nobody will also temper it again after everything is said and done? That I am not sure of. The EC should be able to convince me. But beyond that, any other comment that run counter to some of these things, please, let's push them away and then concentrate on what we think is meaningful.
Let's get into other stories. The Cybersecurity Awareness Month launched. That story there. This year's Cybersecurity Awareness Month has been launched with a call on citizens to build a culture of responsibility and vigilance online. I'm always passionate about cybersecurity-related matters, so that's it. NHIS should provide free cover to people above 60 years. That's according to a lecturer. And policymakers have been called upon to review the free healthcare policy for persons aged 70 and above under the National Health Insurance Scheme to 60 years and above to enable more older adults to benefit from the scheme before they pass on. A lecturer at the College of Health Sciences, University of Ghana, Dr. Priscilla Yeye Eduamwa Atefua, who made the call, explained that since the retirement age in Ghana was 60 and life expectancy of Ghanaians was 64 years, it was incumbent on the state to consider doing things that would favor people aged 60 and above. I cannot say that I don't agree with her. I do. If you go to the UK, they have a similar system there, and people benefit from that. The second one, Mahama urges clergy to show interest in elections. The presidential candidate of the NDC, former President John Mahama, has called on the clergy to actively participate in the upcoming elections, emphasizing their crucial role in ensuring a peaceful and transparent process. You know, nowadays, the clergy have left a very sour, bad taste in my mouth when it comes to politics. You can be political, you can support a political party, but especially when you're a member of the clergy, you should know how to address it, just like my job. You can be political. After all, we all vote, don't we? But when addressing the issues, be as transparent and as fair as possible. With some of the comments that have permeated our political space when it comes to religious, clerics and all of that, I just feel a lot of them, from Aglo to Nyansafue Mohe to some of those on both sides, NDC and MPP, they leave a sour taste in my mouth because some of them are clearly from this or that political party. And when they speak, I can't take them seriously because it is clear this one is either NDC or this one is MPP, and they are speaking. And that is why I also have concerns, my final bit, with the National Peace Council. Because over time, I have watched and listened to and had interviews with the heads of that institution. And sometimes when matters come and their reaction versus other matters, I see clearly that there are certain patterns, but I'll leave it there. Your take on these stories?
Yes, I think I will begin from where you left off. I think this is the best that can happen in terms of what you have said. You couldn't have said it better than what you did. It's a brilliant one. I also have seen from where I sit, and that we expect them to be neutral at all times. But sometimes you realize that the opposition, some of them, what they churn out really expose them to us that they belong to this party or another party. That is not good enough. It is also important for them to know that they occupy a very important position in our lives. Religion and politics are so important in every political sphere, but you need to tread that fine line to be able to hold society together. And if they are forgotten about this, we want to remind them, all right? The issue about them being firm is missing in some of the issues. They are critical issues. They will just wait till things get out of hand before they come in and all that. We have seen the irregularities that characterize the processes over the period. And very little you hear their voices on that. It is not the best. When we talk about free and fair election, we're talking about a particular election which is devoid of irregularities. So any irregular, action or process, you need to be able to throw it away. And I don't see them in this regard. I want to tie it up with something which is not part of the news here, but I've also read from the social media. One of the chiefs in Western region, I think Dr. Baumia went there, was a dabber and virtually endorsing the candidate. You win the election and all that. I want to remind that chief that he should have had his mind to the Supreme Court's ruling that you cannot endorse anybody, any political figure.
But Doc, is that realistic? They do it anyway. They've been doing it all the time. What I don't know, because you see, the current president said to a group that, because you voted against this MP, yes, I am not developing your... If you have someone who comes with a mindset like that, and you, a chief, you've exposed yourself and your community, and that person decides to be vindictive, okay, and says, okay, you endorse the other person, but now I am president, so you two, I'll not come there. What will you do as such a chief? I don't know how some of these... I always say that I respect the traditional institutions, but excuse me to say, some of them don't speak as though they were thinking. Let Mahama come. Tell him, oh, these are the issues in my community and all of that. If you become president, we want you to address them. And we wish you all the best. We give you our blessing. Go. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia come. Alan Chematin come. Everybody comes. And you tell them the same thing. But on D-Day, you can go and vote for whomever you please. So. But once you get this sycophantic and someone else comes and Wahala comes to your community, are you then going to be like, oh, they are... I don't know how some of these people think. I don't know.
And why do you want to, glorify leaders? Michael Kwesam said something in his book. He said, when we glorify leaders, they become swollen-headed and it takes them off course. This should guide everybody. Let them do. If you are doing your work, why should I glorify you? All right. In election, I'm not here to praise you or what. I'll go and express myself. That's all. And you are occupying a very important and unique position that you should shy away from these things. Anyway, let me move on to the National Health Insurance Scheme story. I also support that call, the 60 years. Yes, because this is where people go on pension, and this is where all manner of health issues also arise. So we expect that there should be that type of a welfare policy that will support them to be able to live up to the time that the America will call them. So I am for it, and I believe that the state will put in resources, not just the policy, but put in resources to drive the policy to its logical conclusion.
Let me quickly get into some other stories. The Daily Guide newspaper now. Pastor Love jailed 4 years for stealing NDC's voter register allegations. Baseless, that's according to the MPP. 2024 elections, provisional register errors corrected. That's according to the EC. I'll not be getting back into that because we've done it extensively from the Daily Graphic newspaper. Nana swears in 21 new judges. Dr. Okoboy joins Gavi board. On the back page, GFA awaits CAF's decision after stadium inspection, and we are hoping and praying, keeping our fingers crossed, that the Cape Coast Stadium will be given approval. But we've got to that ignominious, shameful, disgraceful point where we may not find a stadium in Ghana in which our Black Stars can play. So disgraceful. Ronaldo dedicates goal to late dad. He dedicated his goal that gave Al Nassr a 2-1 win against Al Rayyan in the AFC Champions League Elite on Monday to his late father. I only reiterate this because it seems that goal was particularly special for him. Jiku returns to face Sudan. Defender Alexander Jiku is expected to make a return to Black Star squad, to the Black Star squad. A lot of stories seem to think articles are not needed in English. To the Black Star squad after a bit of an absence. And then NBA legend dies at 58. I'm talking about NBA Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo. I actually grew up watching him play, and he's passed at the age of 58. He spent 18 years playing in the league for the Denver Nuggets, Atlanta Hawks, Philadelphia 76ers, New Jersey Nets, New York Knicks, and Houston Rockets. And actually, that's where I fondly remember his playing, Houston Rockets. Well, that's it for the sporting end. And then let's get into some of the others. Page 6. There's this very disturbing story. Man 33 butchers father. A 33-year-old man, Papa Donko, has allegedly butchered his father at Yao Krakrum in the Amenfi West municipality of the Western region. According to the suspect's brother, Tay, last Sunday, Donko told their father that he was fed up in life and that their father was responsible for his alleged predicaments. Donko told our father that the world had not been fair to him and our father was responsible for what he was going through, so he would kill our father by chopping off his head. And he said their father quickly informed the elders of the town and asked them to call Donko to advise him to do away with that notion. He alleged that after a while, the suspect allegedly killed the father by indeed chopping off his head and left the house to a nearby bush, but returned later. It's very, very disturbing story. But sometimes, you know, when the economy is bad, people will be blamed, parents, grandparents, for witchcraft, for all kinds of things they are not responsible for. Very sad situation. So sometimes you should also blame our politicians for creating a system where people cannot thrive economically. Pastor Love jailed 4 years for stealing. Hammond Love, popularly known as Pastor Love, the ex-husband of gospel musician Obapa Christie, has been sentenced to 4 years imprisonment with hard labor for stealing a Toyota Highlander 2013 model valued at $50,000. The convict was dragged to court in 2017 after he sold the vehicle, which was sent down from the United States by a friend named Samuel Amankwa without his knowledge. Court documents indicated that Pastor Love had cleared the vehicle from the port with his own money, which the friend was going to reimburse. The initial plan was for him to sell the vehicle, after which he would deduct his money used in clearing the vehicle from the port. And apparently that did not go well, and this has led now to his incarceration. Dr. Okoboy joins Gavi board. Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy has been appointed to the Gavi Alliance board as the alternate board member representing the Anglophone Africa constituency. This appointment will see Dr. Okoboy serving until December 31, 2026. Any reflections on these stories?
I'll look at the GFA story. Very sad story. Because you and I were here 2008 or so when Ghana hosted the AFCON, and we had a number of stadia. Today, to the extent that everything has deteriorated and that we can't even have one stadium which is fit for purpose to allow Blaster to feature on. A very sad story. A very, very sad story. And I don't know what has happened. Is it the case that over the years, the budget we have allocated to the ministry, we did not apportion some for the maintenance of these facilities? Is it the case that we were just looking for snails and grass cutter in the bush without turning back to look at whether we have a facility that like this that we have used taxpayers' money to make? Where is our, maintenance culture? Jesus Christ. I believe that we should have leaders who will do nothing but what? Ensure that the provisions in the Constitution are protected at all times. One of the provisions is that, look, you will make, every citizen will make sure that we protect public what? Property. Public property. Is it the case that we have people in the ministry drawing salaries from the state coffers? Is it part of their duty to ensure that these facilities remain same or improve at all times? Let's look at it. When we are putting people into office, we should make sure that they are people who will serve the national interest. Any other consideration, let's throw them away.
All right. Let's get into some other stories now. Oh, our time is up. Okay, so let's just do some headlines The Ghanaian publisher newspaper, Jean Mensa rubbishes audit call. It's premature and unnecessary. Haptel refutes impropriety in ECG deal. STEM schools excel in YEA competition, and Baumia promises innovative solutions. Those are the final stories. We are done. Doc, any thoughts you'd like to share before you take leave of us?
Yes, I think there was a previous story about 21 judges commission. I think you said that.
Yes, by the president. Yes.
Which judges are we talking about here? Is that High Court or Court of Appeal? Or?
Let me just get the details. I've read a story on it from yesterday. But President Akufo-Addo has sworn in 21 new High Court judges, and it goes on to elaborate
High Court.
The number.
Right.
Yes.
Whatever it is, what we appeal to them is that we have a lot of cases, piling up, and that one of the problems of our judicial system that we have cases piling up. We'll be grateful if they could do us favor by making sure that they work on these things with dispatch, and that we are also, as a society, should support them with all the needed resources for them to be able to do their work, not only effectively, but most efficiently.
All right. Thank you very much for joining the conversation this morning, Dr. Kwame Asante. He, of course, is a political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies. Do stay, because up next we serve you the best in sports. Our own award-winning sports journalist of the year, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, will be serving you that hot. Do stay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports. Here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Ghana is waiting for a decision from the Confederation of African Football on where Ghana's match 3 in the 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifiers will be played. Intel reaching Joy Sports this morning indicates that the match is likely going to take place at the Accra Sports Stadium after CAF rejected the Cape Coast Sports Stadium, which was inspected on Saturday. These facilities were inspected on Saturday and on Friday, on Friday and then on Saturday rather, but it appears that Cape Coast Sports Stadium is not in the good books of CAF, so the match is likely going to take place at the Accra Sports Stadium. My colleague Haruna Mubarak, who was following the parliamentary probe into Save Ghana Football petition, has more in this report.
The Baba Yara Sports Stadium has been the nation's go-to pitch for high-profile national assignments. It was the battleground where Ghana won 4-3 over the Central African Republic in June, securing a crucial victory in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. But then, the unexpected happened. The National Sports Authority rented out the facility for a 5-day Kumuyi Church program with only a few weeks left until the nation's next match. Despite initial optimism that the pitch would be ready for Ghana's AFCON qualifier against Angola, that goal was not achieved. The condition of the pitch became a major talking point, overshadowing the Black Stars' narrow defeat. The situation worsened when CAF banned the venue as Ghana began seeking alternative venues abroad.
The truth is that CAF is now being stringent on countries that don't have stadiums suitable to host international matches. Those days when any wishy-washy pitch could pass is long gone. There are more than 15 countries now playing away from their home. And as you'd realize, our last game against Niger was played in Morocco because they don't have a certified pitch in their country. That is Niger. But a country of a gravitas of Ghana, should do better, should do much better. I don't know why we cannot count on the expertise of these people to give us the right advice. We have the facilities, we are spending millions and millions of dollars in putting up infrastructure, yet the key aspect of the thing is not being taken care of. And I'm sorry to say that we've relied on local companies to deliver what we call pitches. But to be honest, a lot of what I've seen having officiated matches in Ghana here and compared to other stuff, I would say what we have in Ghana are just weeds instead of pitches.
With less than 2 weeks until the Black Stars' next home match, the Ghana FA, in collaboration with the Sports Ministry and the NSA, is doing everything within their power to avoid playing abroad. Both the Accra and Cape Coast stadiums have undergone renovations, and the nation is now awaiting CAF's decision for possible approval.
Mr. Chairman, we are waiting for...
What's the position of CAF?
We are waiting for CAF.
You are waiting for CAF?
Yes.
Does it look good?
We've done the hard work.
Okay.
We are waiting for CAF.
Very well. And have you visited the pitches that are being talked about yourself or your technical people? Have they gone there to see them yourself?
The experts within us have been there.
And they think it's okay?
And I would say that I will not comment on their report to me. I'll wait for CAF to speak.
The Black Stars come up against Sudan on October 11, hoping for their first win of the 2025 AFCON qualifier after picking up 1 point from 2 matches. Ghana suffered a 1-0 defeat to Angola before playing out a 1-1 draw against Niger, leaving them third in Group F.
And CAF's communique is expected within this week. And as of yesterday, when Joy Sports contacted Sudan, Sudan had mentioned that CAF was here to officially tell them where the match would be happening. But last night, our sources revealed that the game is likely to take place in Accra after the rejection of the Cape Coast Sports Stadium by the Confederation of African Football. We'll have that story on my Joy Online pretty soon. But let's move on now and hear from a management committee member of the Ghana Football Association, the executive council member, rather, Dr. Randy Abe. He was before the Parliamentary Select Committee probing into the petition of Save Ghana Football. He justified why bonuses should be paid to management committee members of the various national teams.
Why do we pay a bonus? We pay a bonus for recognition of success. So success has been achieved, and we think that it ought to be rewarded. And so we identify those who are responsible as far as the success is concerned, and then we reward them. Is that not the case? Now, I always ask, in this country, when the Black Stars fail, they fail to perform. What's the first name that is mentioned? It's the GFA president. Even before people go to speak about the coach and even want to speak about players. I mean, there are people who don't even know who the mazer or the physio or the assistant coach of the national team is. People hold people responsible when there's failure. Why must these people not be recognized when there's success? If you think that it is okay to hold people responsible when there's failure, why must you not see it as okay to reward those people when there's success? Today, who has been invited by Parliament here? Who? Who are those who are before Parliament today?
It is the GFA who were before Parliament, and not just the GFA that were before Parliament. Former Black Stars captain Stephen Appiah was also called up to assist the committee on how Ghana football can be better governed. He spoke on the Ghana Premier League, saying that many traditional clubs have gone into obscurity, and that is the reason why there's low patronage of Ghana Premier League football.
I was so happy to play against the youngsters. And these are the names when we hear, yes. And all the community come and support them. They own, it's a religion for them. So today, the feeling is not there anymore because you have people who are from Brekum, but they are not supporting the team from Brekum. Different team. But it's difficult because I think those clubs, they don't have the financial to run the club. So you will see them playing 2nd division, 3rd division. They will be there playing every Sunday. So you see the people around the community, they are sad. Last year, my son played for Great Olympics, so I went to watch them. And I was asking myself, I've played on that stadium before. Swedru, All Blacks. And I was like, gone are the days when we used to play here. There were no stand, but stadium is packed. People are standing on the walls. And that's the feel of the game those days. Because when you look around and see people standing on the walls, coming to cheer you, I mean, it will give you 120%, not 100% on the pitch. But it's difficult because they don't have money to run the team anymore. Those teams are not there anymore. So it's very, very difficult. I mean, as for the community, they will come and they will cheer the team, they win, they are happy, and that's it. But me, I'm looking at a young boy growing up in that place. His career is finished. So, of course, we have to revive it if we have a way of doing that. We have to.
The 3rd edition of the Case Carrot Championship took place at the Aviation Social Center. Over 100 kids assembled to participate in this event, and my colleague, Abdul Karim Benin, was there and has more in this report.
The male and female participants were divided into various categories, with each category producing a champion along with 2 additional podium finishes. The young karatekas thrilled the patrons with their impressive displays of intricate movements and punches. The top 3 finishers in each category received medals, while each participant proudly walked away with a certificate of participation. Kensei Kai Dojo, Kokusai Karate Organization of Ghana, and Place Trinity Shotgun Karate finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd respectively as the overall best clubs, taking home giant trophies. Kensei Kai Dojo also emerged as the winners of the Team Kumite. Some of the medal winners expressed excitement about participating in the championship.
Well, I most of the time listen to my coach, and he's a very good trainer, and I already know that Trinity would have already won. I actually want to go probably to go and fight people or protect myself.
Oh, it feels good. It's about training and everything, so if I train well, I will perform better.
It feels very, very good, and I'm very happy about that.
What did you do to become a champion?
I fought well, and I remembered the things that I learned.
Alexander Aka, a proud parent of one of the participants, shared his thoughts on the event.
Actually, I must say I'm quite impressed. I mean, personally, I have a history in MMA, but I think my daughter has also picked up on it, and this is actually her first time today, and I think she did very well. You know, so I took a lot of motivation. She trained hard for the last 3 days, late in the night, and she came out successful. I'm very proud of her.
Lead organizer Samuel Obin said the goal is to elevate this competition to a regional event in the coming years.
Right, so we the organizers, basically, we're trying to augment the efforts of the Ghana Karate-Do Federation. You know, they can't do it alone. Individuals have to help in any way they can. And what we're trying to do is to start these competitions. Currently, we do it once a year. Hopefully, we'll increase to twice or thrice a year. That's every quarterly. And the aim and objective is to grow the talent, grow the level of skill, grow the level of play. Right now we're doing it nationally, but with time we hope to, you know, take it out to West Africa or even Africa. You get my point. It's all to increase the standards so that at international events like the All Africa Games and the likes, we can also come home with some medals. Yeah.
Welcome back on the AM show. Now, a new training initiative is equipping conservation practitioners and managers with innovative approaches to preserve and rejuvenate Ghana's endangered tree species and their natural habitats. Over 10% of the country's indigenous tree species are at risk, making the development of effective conservation and restoration tactics in their native environments a pressing necessity. Today's episode of Climate Focus explores the critical need for novel methods, innovative methods to restore and protect Ghana's forests.
Earth's land surface is degraded, affecting the well-being of over 3 billion people as lakes dry up, forests vanished, and farmlands become dust bowls. To protect both nature and human health, there is a crucial need to restore 1.5 billion hectares of land by 2030.
To modify things if we're not covering what you would really like us to cover. So it's a team effort. And we're all...
A specialized course aimed at conservation practitioners and managers focuses on building capacity for on-site conservation of Ghana's endangered tree species, addressing this challenge through a practical and tailored program.
Right in the southwestern down here is the evergreen forest, and as the name supposes, there's a lot of rainfall going on over there. Then we have the moist evergreen. We have the
Yao Etuahene Yako from the Resource Management Support Center of the Forestry Commission reflects on the past 20 years.
Yes, it means when we look back like 20, 25 years ago, for example, when I joined the Forestry Commission, I mean, the forest was in a far better state as we are seeing today. We are supposed as Forestry Commission to be improving on what is there. But there seems to be too much onslaught on the forest now from all angles. By nature, we are suffering from wildfires and others, and then we also have people attacking the forest in terms of harvesting and illegal mining. So that's what we mean by the forest doesn't look too good now because of these factors that is affecting the forest. I mean, they are very, very challenging.
Yao emphasizes the importance of forest protection and urges communities not to destroy the natural habitat.
Yes, the point is, we are doing our best to restore the forest, but protection is very important because if we lose the forest and even we try to restore it, we can never get it back to its original stage. That's what I mean by you can never plant a forest and let it look like what God created. I mean, he is a master creator. His is different. With high biodiversity, a lot of species, animals, all the different kind of species are within a forest. When you destroy that one and you plant, you are putting in together maybe maximum 10 species in that land, in maybe a square hectare, in a hectare of land. But if you take a typical tropical forest, you can have over 650 plant species within that area that we are talking of. So you will be reducing the quality of the forest. Although you will try to put some trees back, you will not get it as it used to be. So it's important, first, we protect the forest by not destroying them, and then the little that maybe will be destroyed will have to be planted back.
The training session gathered 20 conservation leaders aimed at inspiring them to ensure forests are conserved.
Focused around
Dr. Rosie Trevelyan, director of the Tropical Biological Association, emphasizes that successful restoration requires collective effort and involvement.
So really the essence of the program is to solve the challenge we have of conserving forests and particularly threatened trees in Ghana through education and training, and particularly through bringing together people who are really at the forefront of conservation, to bring them together so they can learn from each other as well as learn from us. So we're aiming to give people the tools, some inspiration, and some of the science behind our current views on forest restoration, so that we can all achieve a program that's better.
Dr. Trevelyan says interventions are crucial for ensuring healthy and functional forest in Ghana, preserving the beauty of nature. She emphasizes hope in the restoration and conservation efforts, given the dedication of those leading the charge.
So we have 20 participants on the course from a whole range of organisations, and I know that we've just heard from them that their expectations are to, I mean, we all want to do better conservation. Their expectations are to learn some new ideas and new approaches for forest restoration, to hear from other organisations what they're doing. Often people are stuck in their own offices or in their own field sites, and this is a real chance for people to learn from what other people are doing on the ground. And we'll also, as part of the course, it's not just in a classroom. We're going to be going out to visit real conservation and restoration projects on the ground. And one of our aims is to remind ourselves, what is our ultimate goal for restoration? It's to have a healthy, functioning forest.
Meanwhile, IPAC Ghana has already restored 120 hectares of degraded land, with plans to restore an additional 240 hectares in 2024 using native species. David Kwarteng serves as the executive director of the organization.
Over there, we have restored about 120 hectares of degraded forests land, and we are using the community approach through agroforestry, where the communities get opportunity to plant crops and then to be able to feed their families, whilst they take care of the trees that we have planted. And so far we are seeing tremendous improvement in the tree cover. This year we are also working at the Mankran Forest Reserve, where we are doing a total of 240 hectares.
Organizations such as Arocha Ghana and Goshen Global Vision are leading various initiatives aimed at environmental protection through sustainable practices.
So my name is Hobson Eli Etra. I work with Arocha Ghana as the Chibi Landscape Manager. As part of the Franklina project, we are looking at 19 species that are endangered, 3 species that are endangered, and how to strengthen their needs and their use in the communities. We are engaging with the communities to identify these species. We are engaging with the communities to monitor the phenologies of these species when they are fruiting, when they are seeding, so they help to collect the seeds and do the propagation.
Effective restoration planning course involves anticipating project impacts, comprehending the ecological links in forest restoration for sustainable conservation results, selecting appropriate restoration methods for different situations, monitoring effects, and emphasizing the significance of safeguarding Ghana's vulnerable tree species. Forest protectors are urged to undo the damage caused by Ghanaian communities, giving their children and future generations a chance at a better future.
I really think that the people on this course have the ability to solve the forest conservation and restoration issues in Ghana. And I think this course is just a way to really bring that out from them, give them more motivation and empowerment so they really can have the impact that they want.
It is the responsibility of all of us to protect the forest and then also to restore it, because that is what, especially if you are a Christian, we all believe that that is what God told our forefathers, Adam and Eve, to do in the garden, that we should manage the natural environment that he has given us.
A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
And that has been our latest installment of Climate Focus, focusing on our climate, our environmental issues, and how we should be conserving as same. But next up, as we hit our big stories, we're going to be talking about the opposition National Democratic Congress, which has been left standing alone with only the Progressive People's Party backing its call for a forensic audit of the voters' register and IT system of the Electoral Commission. 8 registered political parties, including the governing MPP, have all been giving a thumbs up to the Electoral Commission after it announced measures it had taken to resolve discrepancies in the voters' register ahead of the crucial 2024 elections. It will be recalled that following the admission by the EC that its officers had illegally transferred voters in Pusiga. The NDC claimed to have identified even more discrepancies to anchor their demand for a forensic audit. In a historic IPAC meeting broadcast live, the EC announced a raft of measures it had taken to clean up the register. Kweku Asante of our Political Affairs desk brought through this report.
Dr. Yao Forieje, Director of IT at the Electoral Commission, isolated the specific allegations and claims that have been made against the Electoral Commission by the NDC and responded to them separately. According to him, the Electoral Commission has specifically dealt with all the challenges that the NDC raised, and in particular, some of them are just spurious.
In our minds, we can't see how you can delete somebody by transferring them, because transfers are allowed. So you can't delete somebody by transferring them. I also like to say that the way the voter management system is designed, and indeed ABIS, once you get registered onto the system, we went on further and looked at the transaction history of the particular voter within our database. By 2020, at 10:19 a.m., at the True Vine Preparatory School, JHS, near Boyman, with polling station number C150704. This gentleman, on the 22nd of October 2020, at 4:35 p.m., registered for special voting and was moved to the Achimota College Police Station, C1502 SPS. That is a special polling station that he registered for.
But the NDC came in forcefully, according to Dr. Eduardo Mane-Boama, who is the NDC's Director of Elections and IT. The Electoral Commission has simply shown itself not trustworthy enough.
When your roof is leaking, you can decide to mop, keep mopping, and keep mopping. Or you can decide to fix the leakage and mop. What we see here is mopping and mopping and mopping. Fixing the leakage is missing. This forensic audit is not just about the register. When you have fixed the register, and I will demonstrate to you how, as a result of our revelations, some aftermath fixing is providing a semblance of we are fixing it. When you fix it, and we all look at the hard copies, and we are all giving the PVR, the soft copies. In November, if the very criminals that got us here are still there, engaged in illegal transfers, we will come back to square one.
The New Patriotic Party, represented by the General Secretary, a former National Chairman, and the Director of Elections, all had their bite. But the substantive argument that was made by the NPP was that they raised similar issues in 2015. The NDC did not support them. And in fact, they've also gone through these claims that have been made by the NDC, and they have simply no legs to stand on.
It's not a question about having a leaking roof and mopping your floor. It's about the data, what you presented to the Electoral Commission. The whole people of Ghana want to see it. And that is the comment APC made, that even the request for forensic audit is needless at this point, because we are yet to see those allegations that you are talking about. And the Electoral Commission has said that they are going to furnish us with the cleanup that they have done. So, Madam Chair, we also want to know from you when we can have the revised exercise that you have done, so that we can also have another look. It is afterward that if there is a need for us to convey again, then the issues that you are talking about, we can even think about or even consider.
Some of the political parties did support the NDC's call for a forensic audit, others did not.
I feel that an independent audit will rather boost the credibility and image of the voter register. Because just imagine if an independent auditor comes and says, well, the register is 100% clean. That one, it is not the EC saying it. Because what Dr. Ufori said, I mean, the presentation is nice, but it is the EC speaking.
So in auditing, this will be classified as immaterial. So no auditor will spend time to to work on that because it's immaterial. There's no problem asking for a forensic audit. But the problem here is that we are only holding a provisional voter register. And that allows for correction and allows for updates.
Electoral Commission Chairperson Madam Jean Mensah has been assuring that the Commission will always keep transparency as its watchdog and ensure that in the lead up to the 2024 general election, there will be enough for persons to know that the Electoral Commission is trustworthy.
The Commission felt that it was in our interest to demystify the Commission and to remove the cloaks of secrecy that had hitherto shrouded our operations. And so today, from A to Z, from registration to the declaration of results, all our processes are open to the public. And that is the beauty of our democracy.
She has also been announcing that in the coming days, the Electoral Commission will allow journalists in to witness and record IPAC proceedings.
As part of the Commission's efforts to ensure transparency and accountability in all its processes, we have decided that this meeting and all subsequent IPAC meetings will be covered by the media.
As we know now, the NDC is scheduled to have some high-level meetings to decide on their next line of action. The NDC says it is keeping all its cards on the table, and this will include protest. According to Dr. Doromane Boama, the Electoral Commission's word cannot be taken for it, and that is why they are going to have a meeting and decide whether or not this call for a forensic audit will be modified, as the Electoral Commission and others have been calling, or they will keep at it with barely 60 days to the 2024 general election. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Alisa Hotel, Accra.
And so there you have it, the Electoral Commission in a historic manner, allowing live coverage of all IPAC meetings henceforth. But let's get into the matters with our guests about what they make of this, what they make of the position of the NDC, what they make of other parties' positioning, whether it is apt. I have seen the likes of Dr. Kojo Asante Pumpuni responding to some of this. I have heard Evans Nimako of the MPP also responding. But let's get to our guests now. We have Dr. Kwame Asante, political scientist, head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. He joins us on phone. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Ben, once again.
It's good to have you once again. We also have Professor Bafo Ajimandia, former UN governance advisor. Prof, good morning.
Always good to see you.
It's always good to have you. It's so refreshing. Let's start from there. There are other guests who will join us along the way. But let me start with you, Prof. I'm sure you watched, or at least you've monitored proceedings from yesterday's IPAC gathering. What did you make of it in summary? What did you make of it?
First of all, I think the EC has initiated a very progressive, this initiative is very progressive in terms of exposing the works of the EC to the public. After all, the independence of the EC does not mean that it should keep everything to its chest. And for many years, people like myself have been calling for full transparency, including the use of the media, so that whatever that is doing will be known to all. Because as you know, in past IPAC meetings, after the meeting, the political parties come out, and we get different versions of what was discussed and the agreements reached, and that has always been a problem. So I'm very happy, and I think we should commend the EC for taking this initiative. It's very important because that will help to diffuse the mistrust that some Ghanaians have in the EC, and it will also help to build its credibility, because any accusation that are made coming from how it functions will then be exposed to all of us to judge. So I think the EC has done very well and especially saying that henceforth, all IPAC meetings will be covered by the media, for me, is a very, very important step that I've taken to rebuild the confidence that they so deserve to do their work. So in terms of the media access, I think is very commendable. Secondly, I think the NDC also, I would like to commend them for taking up the issue, because perhaps if they had not taken up this issue as they did, most of the issues that were explained yesterday would not have been explained to the public here. Now that we all know the concerns and the assurances that the EC is going to rectify them, and that most of these concerns are the result of the nature of registration. It's a human enterprise, and therefore, by all means, you're going to find some errors. In fact, last night I read about in the US where in one state, transfer of voters have become an issue. So these are issues that afflict all electoral systems in the world. But for us, I think it's important that this complaints has pushed the EC to come this way, because the idea of opening it to the public is not a new one. Even under Dr. Afarija, it was raised, but it was resisted by the commission. So now that they've decided to open it up, I think we should all together continue to monitor his work so that there will be absolute trust in the work of the EC.
Thanks for those initial comments. I'll come back to you on the historic nature of that. Let me come to Dr. Kwame Asante. We've interacted this morning, but if you'd like to reiterate, what were your major takeaways from this IPAC meeting yesterday as telecast live? Hello, Doc.
Was that if you look at the decision by the Electoral Commission to meet all the stakeholders and then extended invitation to even the media, it's part of a deeper transparency that we are seeing. It is also refreshing to note that the EC acknowledged some of the errors which NDC pointed out, and they work on that. And we saw evidence from the fact that Dr. Manimbwa commended the EC for that good job. So it is my hope and prayer that all that NDC has, that they say they are keeping to their chest, they will make them available to the EC so that it will be part and parcel of the process to have a clean register for this poll.
For you, allowing the media to come in, I mean, in recent times we had that move by the Chief Justice allowing for airing some of the proceedings of court, and that was monumental. Now it is the Electoral Commission. How significant is this, Dr. Asante?
Well, you know, the media by their traditional role is to educate, inform, and then expose weaknesses of government, if you like, to society. So if there is something such as what the electoral processes that under normal circumstances the media would not be invited to, and this time around the head of EC saying that, look, come in. After all, we are all working in the interest of the state. I believe that it's a good thing because at the end of the day, whatever transpires there, the media is that institution that will be able to channel it to the doorstep of the ordinary man. So once they are there, they get first-hand information and they pass it on to the people more effectively. So for me, it's part of the process to deepen or strengthen the frontiers of the electoral process and make it more acceptable and gives it all the clean leading that it deserves.
To you, Prof, how significant would you say this was? How crucial is it to achieving some level of transparency ahead of election 2024? Prof.
I think the action by the EC yesterday will go a long way in bringing some trust to the process. I hope also that it will go a long way to satisfy the NDC and others who have expressed some serious concerns. And I think henceforth, when these matters are discussed in public, it will help all citizens to be alert to these kinds of issues. So Personally, I think it's a very important decision by the EC. And in fact, the promise of the chairperson to make it open, not only this IPAC meeting, but the whole electoral process to make it open, is a very commendable initiative. Look, when you are competing for power like in any other country, the process is important to all stakeholders. And in fact, it's not only to the political parties. We as citizens, we're also interested because ultimately we want every election to end peacefully. So Ghanaians are concerned about peace. If you listen to the threats being issued by political actors across board, they put us, on the on the brink, and I think that is not the way we should go. So far as we're able to make our electoral process open, accessible to all, I think some of these suspicions that have been bedeviled our political process, especially in the elections, will be minimized. So I think this is an important initiative, and we should all support the EC. And that does not mean that those who have concerns like the NDC should shut up. They should be open, whatever that they have on their chest, as I heard them saying, they should bring it to the table for all to see, so that, look, we go through this process peacefully without any serious incidents.
And that is my next question for you. The NDC says no. In fact, we heard Dr. Omanibuama saying, if your roof is leaking, you can either decide to continue mopping the floor, or you can work on the roof instead, or maybe change it. The NPP disagreed with that. Their General Secretary, Frimpong Kodia, said, no, this is not about that issue. You said you had evidence. Adduce the evidence. The NDC says, we are holding some of these things to our chest. And some have said that that may not be the right strategy. What is your thinking? The NDC still insists that there are issues left to be addressed, just as happened in Pusiga and in other places where they had to bring it up before the Electoral Commission realized there were problems. What do you think about this strategy, so to speak?
Well, I think as we get closer to the elections, that will not be the best strategy for the country. I think the NDC will be open about their concerns as they've done. And if there are still some remaining issues, they should bring it up. Because look, they are acting on our behalf. It's in our collective interest that we sort these things out before the elections. So if there are any serious infractions about the electoral process that they detected, the earlier they bring to the table to the attention of the EC and the nation at large, the better for us. So I think, well, they may have their own strategy, but I don't think they should set a trap for the EC so that at the last minute, we have a problem that we cannot deal within the available time space that the EC may have. So if they do have something on their chest, they are keeping something. I hope it's not a bomb that they can detonate or explode at the right time to shake the nation. I don't think that's what they are thinking about. But certainly, I'm sure they said that perhaps strategically to put the EC on its feet and just to make sure that they do the right thing. So I appreciate that, but I think whatever it is, they should level Ghanaians now that the doors are open. Let's discuss everything publicly so that we can have very successful elections.
And we will be interacting with the NDC in the course of this discussion. But let me come to you, Doc. Do you think there could be something that, like Prof said, maybe they are holding something to their chest in order to, I don't know whether the word is trap, the Electoral Commission, maybe ahead of the elections or in the elections? And what do you think that would bode for the elections? Dr. Hassan
I'm not
Asante.
sure whatever they have, if they are supposed to keep it to their chest, they cannot keep it to their chest forever. Whatever it is, it will come out. So the earlier, the better. The good news is that the Electoral Commission saying that put forward that information and let us discuss them. Let us see ways by which we can deal with the issues. I think that is the way to go. Because whatever they churn out initially, which the EC doubted initially and later accepted it, it tells you that the EC is in a good position to accept whatever they point out. and then work with them. That is the spirit in a democracy, or spirit behind democracy. That yes, you air your views, you express your opinion, and then it is taken on board and it's factored into a process that goes a long way to affect the very survival of the system that we have. Let us also remember that without the EC, we cannot do much when we're talking about election. So yes, EC as a human institution may have their fault, but when we are able to identify and point them out to them, it is their duty to work on that. And we have seen evidence of that they are ready to work with whatever information that the NDC has. So I don't think the continued having of that information or keeping that information to their chest will do us any good. They should bring it now so that it will be incorporated into the process and give us a clean list of voters for the election.
Hold for me, Doc. Let me bring in into the conversation Dr. Rashid Tanko-Computer. He is Deputy Director of Elections and IT with the NDC. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. Let me say good morning to you.
Doc, I am struggling to hear you. I started hearing you and then it went off. Let's try this again. Good morning. Dr. Tanko-Computer, can you hear me? I think it's a network situation, so we'll try to rectify that. In the meantime, Dr. Tanko-Computer, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, all right. I can hear you as well. I have seen a press statement, of course, it's dated yesterday, on the NDC's position on matters arising from the IPAC. We'll get into that in a bit. But first off, what did you make? And let me delineate the details, because after that, I'll be asking you a follow-up question on some of the reactions. But what did you make generally of yesterday's IPAC meeting?
Well, we welcome the Electoral Commission position of allowing live broadcast after we requested for it prior to this IPAC meeting. And they now accepted that there's a need to have this live broadcast. I mean, so it was a welcome news. And then we believe that.
Wait, are you saying the EC only went along with that because you requested it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, of course, yes. They went along because we requested it. It was through our initiative that they brought it. It wasn't that they brought it. Okay. You remember the other time when we requested for it to have live broadcast with our issues with them on the 6th of September, they rejected it. And they didn't just want to hear anything about it. And this one too, when they said they were going to talk about the register, don't forget, they even gave us 2 different letters. The first letter, they were talking about the 2024 register. And then when we now requested for the live broadcast of the proceedings, they now changed the letter to 2024 provisional voters register. So there were 2 different letters, protests. Nonetheless, we thank them for allowing the live broadcast. It was good, and it's bringing back that transparency everybody's looking for, so that everybody can come along with us.
All right. Before I go to your party's statement, I just want to find out from you. Yesterday, I mean, you were called upon, some of the political parties, and I'll ask you about that separately, but you were there, the EC opened up to you on the different processes and even the transfer of votes and all of that. While admitting some mistakes, they said they had remedied them. Were you not satisfied with the Electoral Commission as of yesterday? I listened to Dr. Omanibuama, but from where you sit, has the EC not done enough to clear the doubts in your mind?
The EC worked on what the NDC was able to identify. The EC themselves could not identify the issues they were talking about yesterday. So the EC cannot take any credit whatsoever of what transpired yesterday. Had it not because of the NDC insistence and eagle eye on the PVR, your guess would have been good as mine. All along, if you look at all their presentation yesterday, especially their director of IT, was hinged on the issues the NDC identified.
Right.
And of which they have taken time to work on them and admitted, say, that actually something of those nature actually happened. And that led to them now putting aside that old PVR and now coming out with a revised PVR. That's the credit to the NDC, and we have been vindicated.
All right. Now let me ask you, are there other issues beyond what the EC has addressed? The EC has admitted 3 points, 3 counts, that there were errors. But after that, are there any other issues with the electoral register that the NDC knows of?
Well, for now, that is why if you look at our statement, we are giving them a benefit of doubt. But having said they have corrected the register after the admissions of all the issues we have been tabling along. Most Ghanaians were saying that we don't have evidence. We didn't bring evidence. But yesterday, they saw it. Everything the man was talking was our evidence. It was our issues that they have identified, they've corrected, they've admitted. And so we are giving them the benefit of that by saying that we accept the new PVR they are bringing. So we have to take it first. Because these are people, when you trust them with their words, they come out with different things on paper.
But let me ask you this quickly. I've mentioned that there were previous things, and they say they've rectified them. But your party had said that there were more things. And I'm asking you, do you have any other things that the EC has to address? That's what I'm asking.
In terms of the register or the IT system? Because there are 2 issues we are
dealing
with.
The register, the IT system.
The register, for the register, for now, until we get the revised PVR. If we look at the PVR and everything is set,
it would be better it would be better if you used full terms. The provisional voters register. That's what you're
the
referring
provisional.
to.
That's the PVR. Okay, the provisional voters register. That's what I call PVR. The provisional voters register. If they give it as they pledge, they say in a week's time they will give us the provisional register. Yes, when we take it, we accepted that. We will take it. We will restudy it. If everything is fine, they have cleaned everything as we want, or we have already given them. We are good to go. We have no problem with that.
All right. Hold for me. Hold for me briefly. I'll come back to you. Let me bring in the Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council, George Amo. Good morning, sir. All right. It appears we'll get back to him in a bit. So, Dr. Tanko, in a week, you will get this. The positioning, though, on whether there should still be an audit beyond this engagement, where does the NDC stand currently?
Yeah, our stand is in our press statement that we issued last night.
I want you to elaborate on them. I don't want to read. I have it right before
you see
me,
that
but you go ahead and elaborate.
Very well.
All right, Dr. Tanko-Computer, hold for me. I'm sorry I have to do this, but we have Mr. Amo just for a brief period, so hold for me. George Amo is Executive Secretary with the National Peace Council. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brother.
It's a pleasure having you join the conversation. The National Peace Council has caught a lot of flack on the back of not speaking to some of these issues. Eventually, you've waded into it. Having followed the IPAC discussions, what were your takeaways as a council, and what would be your rhetoric to the political parties, especially the NDC, at a time like this?
All right, thank you very much, and greetings to the good people of Ghana. I think that it was good yesterday. We have been looking forward to a forum like it happened yesterday sometime, because we can only resolve that idea, when together at a round and put together our views. Sometimes when we meet and we engage,
Mr. Amo, I would appreciate it if you could just reposition yourself briefly. Your voice is trailing off. I'm struggling to hear you, please.
Oh, sorry. It's better.
Yeah, I think it's a bit better. Just speak up a bit for me. Thank you.
All right. So what I'm saying is that yesterday was.
It appears we've lost Mr. Amo there. I just wanted clarity on what he was saying. I couldn't hear what he was saying properly. We'll try to reconnect with him. Quickly, Dr. Tanko-Computer, you were making a point. Quickly, before maybe Mr. Amo comes back.
That we have taken two positions on this. One being that, yes, we've accepted their issue of giving us a new provisional voter register, and that we've also taken on board their re-exhibition.
It appears we're having a number of challenges. He's talking about accepting their re-exhibition. Dr. Tanko-Computer, I caught up to the point where you said you've accepted their re-exhibition, and that was the last thing I heard. I can't seem to hear you. I think it's the connectivity. Do we have Mr. Amo back? All right. Dr. Rashid Tanko-Computer, can you hear me?
Of the register. Albert, we are recommending to them that they should online, not all of it. Hello, Ben.
I can hear you now. I heard up to the point of re-exhibition.
Yes, so we are saying that we've also agreed to the point of the re-exhibition. Albert, we are making a further recommendation that they should add offline exhibition to it, because not all our people in the rural areas can go online to check their names. So we are recommending to them. But when it comes to the IT system, we've taken note of their admission of the vulnerability of their IT system. And we are, in fact, we are saying that if you look at our statement, we say additionally, the NDC, we demand a multi-stakeholder and inter-party examination of their IT system. In fact, this is another demand we are making.
So this is another layer. This is another layer of information you want. This is another layer of scrutiny you want.
That is it. That is it. That is it. That is it. Because they admitted that their IT system is vulnerable, and that people who has the login credentials can manipulate the data at any point in time. And so we are saying that if we have this multi-stakeholder and inter-party examination of the IT system with them, so that it can bring us closer to agreeing that, yes, this is the way to go about it. This is the way to handle it. I mean, that is the surest way we can have this credible system that we are all looking for.
Interesting times. I will try whether, but what did you make of, okay, we have George Amo back on the line. Prof and Dr. Hassan Asante, I will come to you, but I have to clear some of these issues first. Mr. Amo, you were making a point and we lost you. If you could just briefly reiterate what you were saying, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. So what I was trying to say was that it was good because in any conflicting situation, the best mechanism for addressing the matter is for the parties concerned to engage. And yesterday, I think we saw that happening at Alisa Hotel. You know, and I want to add the parties concerned, the electoral National Congress, that, you know, the ship, and that, yes, by the, for that, you know,
Mr. Amo, it appears the connection where you are is pretty problematic. I'm sorry this is happening, but we've lost Mr. Amo one more time. He is secretary to the Peace Council, and that's it. We'll try to reconnect with him. Just briefly, before I go to Prof and Doc, I just need to clear this. Dr. Tanko-Computer, were you surprised by the positioning of some of the other political parties yesterday at the IPAC meeting? The rhetoric of some of them like Kofi Akpalu and Ekiadonko. What's your reaction?
Well, we are not surprised a bit. In fact, for us as a party, NDC, we weren't surprised at all completely. It didn't It didn't come to us as a surprise. I mean, we knew of it. Before we entered, we had intelligence. What all of them came in to do, we had intelligence. So
you had intelligence
we knew what they were doing.
You had intelligence that what? That what?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, we had intelligence of the machination, the plan, and all that, what they were coming to execute at the place. But we were composed. We weren't
Dr. Tanko-Computer, I'm going to push you. You say, you know, you got a hint of the machinations that, what specifically? Specify for me. What?
Oh, but it was displayed. You saw it. Those machinations were displayed. The chorus, they were all singing there. It was displayed there. I need not to tell you. We knew that this was going to happen. And so when Ekweadonko started that rubbish, we just took it calmly.
Dr. Tanko-Computer, I beg you, take back the word rubbish. She has every right. No. She has every right to her opinion. I may disagree, you may disagree, but no one should call it
I don't
rubbish.
know. Why you listen?
Please, I listened to everything she said. You may be offended by it, but to come on national television and call it rubbish is something else. Please withdraw the word rubbish, else with you we end the conversation here.
Ben, before I withdraw,
please withdraw the word rubbish and then you can go on. Just withdraw.
Before I withdraw, Ben, before I withdraw, the Electoral Commission distanced themselves from that statement on live broadcast. The Electoral Commission themselves, they saw that what she said was not good.
So it may be distasteful, but to refer to it as rubbish is not fair.
No, but it's distasteful. So if something is distasteful, what word do you want me to use for it?
You can use distasteful. Please withdraw the word rubbish. Please withdraw.
Ben, we are level-headed people. You know rubbish and say it was a nonsense, so we think it's what you want.
Are you going to withdraw the word or not?
Withdraw it. You know my style. I'm not the type. I've withdrawn the word. That is what you want. I'll withdraw it for you. But on record, the Electoral Commission themselves distanced themselves from that statement.
All right.
And that they didn't want that statement to be used on their platform.
Okay.
But if you think it's good that she made those statements and you are comfortable with that, and you think that nobody should call her to order for what she did, fair enough. But as a political party, we took interest in that, and we think that was not fair enough for a party like the NDC.
Okay.
For a woman like that, because she's an old lady, a very grown-up person.
All right. Okay.
This is not a young lady.
Okay. Hold for me. Let me bring.
Don't do that.
Let me bring in.
That was unfair to NDC.
Thank you, Doc. Please hold for me. It's a conversation we're having. Please hold for me. Let me bring in Professor Bafo Ajimandia. On that same point, if you listened, Prof, to what the likes of Ekweadonko had to say, she went cutting the NDC and using words that I found a bit problematic. But you then see afterwards, Dr. Abu Sakara Foster says, and he is of the National Interest Movement, and he's on the same bandwagon with Alan Tremating. He says, IPAC is a sham, if only used to justify the EC's predetermined position. The use of, and he puts this in quotation marks, rent-a-party participants to blindly support its position without cogent arguments is a disgrace and not a debate. The EC must not be left with the full luxury of creating contrived institutions and instruments that bolster its position as an unchallenged referee in a match where it is perceived to have vested interests and a weighted hand. It goes on and on. What is your reaction to this? Because that is exactly what Dr. Tanko-Computer is pointing to. Your thoughts? That is for you, Professor Bafo Ajimandia, if you can hear me, sir. Please unmute, Prof, before you speak. Please unmute.
Yes, sorry about that. You hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Prof. Go ahead.
Very good. Yeah, I was saying that those are pretty strong words by my good friend, Dr. Abu Sakara. But, you know, issue of big parties buying small parties to bring them to IPAC to support their stance and all is not new at all. I believe you know what I'm talking about.
Indeed, it isn't.
Dr.
It is not.
There are certain parties that have no legs, yet they're able to get themselves on the ballot box and continuously continue to be presidential candidates. It seems like it's become a job for some people. They wait 4 years, pop up and get themselves registered and join the party, these meetings and throw their support behind the big ones. This is not new. Look, if we want to be serious about this so-called hunger zone, I should say, there must be a system to really make sure one-man political parties that have no representation anywhere in the country do not continue to be part of this kind of forum. That's my general statement about that. But on a more serious note, I think the EC, from the statements that we are getting, is still suspected of many things. And as I said from the beginning, it is good that they've broken this ice. Now they've opened their doors. So let us begin to monitor the EC going forward. And I think all the concerns we have about the elections process, we should bring them to the open. You know, we cannot continuously demonize an institution that plays such a major role in our democracy. Of course, perhaps the perception has not been the best in the past, but now that they seem to be turning a new leaf, let us see how they do it and let's provide them the support they need. So I do not harbor things like my good friend Abu Sakara had. I don't have that against the EC, but certainly the burden is still on the EC to do its best to convince those who distrust them that they are charting a new course. So I think these last few months that we have to go, we have to find a way to work together with the EC to ensure a very successful election. So those comments, as you read to me, maybe in the heat of things he said that, but my earlier comments about these fringe parties, so-called, should be taken a different line.
All right. Let me also bring in Dr. Kwame Asante on that same point. What do you make of these allegations by Dr. Abu Sakara Foster linked to what Dr. Tanko-Computer is saying?
Yeah, I think the little that I picked from what Dr. Abu Sakara was saying was that, one, he was looking forward to some form of reforms within the IPAC to bring in even independent candidates. And my view is that that is a good suggestion, but it cannot be done now because we are too close to the elections. Yes. That aside, he touched on the fact that, some of the comments by some of the reps, political parties representatives there. I share in some of the comments that he said in that effect. Because if you look at some of the comments, particularly from those who said that the forensic audit was not necessary, to the best of my knowledge, those comments were nothing but ugly noises that did not really educate us on the issue, because they did not consider or take into consideration the issues at stake, and which NDC flag, which to a very large extent, the EC has admitted same and has worked with that. So at least there is some credit to the NDC relative to the issue we're talking about. You cannot just attack the NDC for being mischievous and the rest of them. So those statements, particularly like Ekwadonko and so forth, I think that they do not help matters. But for me, what is important is that the EC has accepted some of the issues that NDC brought to the fore and is working with it. Okay. What I expect the NDC to do is that whatever there is that they have under their seat, they should keep so that they will fine-tune the whole register and make it fit for purpose. Okay. The good news that we have heard is that after everything, the EC is ready to give back the register to them after they've done all the cleaning. For me, it is enough for us to say that we are getting somewhere.
Okay. Let me bring back George Amo, Secretary to the National Peace Council. He joins the conversation via Zoom now. Mr. Amo, my apologies. The technical issues have impeded our conversation. But if you could just go back and express what your sentiments are on yesterday's IPAC meeting, I'd be very grateful, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. So I was saying that I think it was a good thing yesterday because for every conflicting issue, the best forum for addressing those issues is for the parties in conflict to sit at the discussion table.
Right.
And I think it happened yesterday, and that is very, very good for all of us. We don't have time to continue in this stalemate. So my appeal to the NDC and to the EC and also to all political parties is that let us, when we see issues, let us bring them as quickly as possible to the attention of the Electoral Commission in this case. And, let's move on. Let's move on. I think yesterday, I personally, all the things that the Peace Council have been talking about, we saw them reflecting in the meeting, and which we think was good for democracy. I think we should move on as a country and continue to critique where we think we have to do it in a manner that will not hurt the timeline that we've set for ourselves, because we don't have, ours is fixed, unlike other democracies where elections can be moved. Ours is fixed. So I think it is time we all move on. Thank you very much.
If I may just add to this, you say, so the NDC should move on, but they are saying, per their statement, that there are other issues. It's a double layer. There's the provisional voters register related issues, some of which they are satisfied with for now, but then there are IT issues as well. And they are saying they are waiting. The EC has promised that in a week's time, they are going to get a re-exhibition of the voters register as it is. And from there, they'll raise further issues. Does that mean that whatever the issues are, you expect the NDC to take it as it is? Or if other issues come up, you would be supportive of delving into them for the sake of transparency?
Well, no, I think we all desire a credible register. That is the surest way we can all look forward to an acceptable outcome after the December 7th election. So it is important any issue that comes up, is tabled for the necessary action. I think if NDC is still having some difficulties with the ICT system, I think it is important they bring them out. But I expect that when the revised register is tabled, I think it should be able to address all the concerns that the NDC is still having. We have to move on because we cannot wait. I'm just asking that we move on. Let us put in all the mechanisms at the party and at the EC levels to ensure we have a credible register, a register that will not be contested at any point. I think Ghana, we can do that. Indeed, if you look at West Africa, I think our EC is one of the lead in terms of credibility. We should keep to that. Correct issues when they come up and we think we are not too comfortable with, and move on for the interest of the country.
Mr. Amo, just give me 30 seconds. I know I'm pushing you. 30 seconds, that's all I need. If you consider the IT consultant to the EC, Dr. Yao Oforiaje, he said, and I'm quoting, he says that the country's electoral register is as clean as any register can get, robust and ready for the 2024 elections. He says it is as clean as it could possibly get. Having followed proceedings yesterday, are you assured of that from where you sit? I just want your quick take on that, and then you can leave us.
I think that cleanliness depends on the eye that is beholding it. So depending on the perspectives, our assessment as to what is clean will differ. So as an ICT expert, I think that is the view he holds. But until there's a contrary view, I think we should all accept that and move on. It's important, we don't have time at all. In as much as we want to ensure everything is done well, we also have to work with the time that we have so that we are not overwhelmed, by things. So I think that yes, if you compare the electoral register of Ghana or with other countries within the West Africa sub-region, I think, as the information tells me, ours is one of the best. But I think we cannot say it is the cleanest. I think we still may have some difficulties we have to ensure we work on every day until we go to the polls. So every day, let us look out for opportunities to make it cleaner than we see today. I think that is all. Probably that's what the NDC is also saying. So let us not push away anything that can make it better. There's still room, I believe, to make our register probably the best.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amo, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. We're grateful for your time, George Amo, Secretary to the National Peace Council.
Thank you.
But maybe I'm sorry I have to do this again. The Peace Pact, how far along have you got with that?
Yes, we still hope that we'll be able to sign the Peace Pact ahead of the December elections. If you followed the previous Peace Pacts, it has not been easy getting the parties to sign to the Peace Pact. The last one, we were kept in Movenpick Ambassador Hotel for over 2 hours before the parties were ready to sign. It tells you how difficult it is to get all of them, at the table. So we are very hopeful this time around to, through the support of all the key actors that we are consulting behind the scenes, we are going to get the Peace Pact once again signed.
But this hope, the NDC has outlined a number of things they want to happen before they will sign any Peace Pact, including the IGP, the Attorney General, others, signing, putting pen to paper on this. If that is not going to happen, are you still expecting them to sign it?
Oh, I think we would meet each other somewhere. For issues like this, we just have to negotiate it. There are some of them that's probably because of restrictions by law, we cannot do much. But those that administratively we can work on, why not? And we have started discussing the issue that the NDC has tabled, the six of them. And we believe that as we speak, 2 have been worked on.
Which ones? Which ones?
Yes, they wanted the president to publicly declare his intention to hand over to whoever wins. I think His Excellency the President has done that. I've heard him do that. Regarding the Techiman shooting, another shooting that happened around, I think we've also seen the court making a pronouncement regarding the incident that took place in Techiman. So at least some actions have been seen at least on 2. So regarding the police and others to sign, there are some of them that we may not be able to do because of some legalities. But those that can sign without any difficulties, why not? We are talking to them.
All right. Thank you so much for indulging me, Mr. Amo. I'm very grateful for your time. George Amo is Secretary.
I'm grateful to the panel members there. My greetings to all of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And let's have a peaceful country.
Amen. to that. That is George Amohie's Secretary of the National Peace Council. I'm going to take your final comments, and part of that can also be your reaction to what the consultant to the EC, IT consultant to the EC, Dr. Yao Foriaje, says, that the register is as clean as can be, or as clean as any register could possibly be. I'll start with you, Dr. Tanko-Computer. Hello, Dr. Tanko-Computer.
Let me say, yeah, Ben, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Very well, very well. I think you should stop using the word as clean as you can think of. This register is not clean. If it is clean, why are they bringing it back as provisional again? When he was admitting to all the errors and all that, how can you describe such a thing as clean? They should stop using those terminologies. I mean, this is not the time for them to be using such terms. He himself admitted to almost everything. Their own IT system could not identify all this, and he has to take the NDC to identify it for them, to go back and look at the register critically. And that led to a new provisional register now coming out. This is the first time the country is going through this tangent. That tells you that a lot is at stake. We've never had a situation where we went in for 2 provisional registers and 2 exhibition exercises. It has never happened. That tells you the enormity of the issue we are discussing. And everybody
Hello.
should take it on board. That look, the NDC has a interest in that. Hello, Ben.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, so I'm saying that the NDC, we are interested in the stability of the country. In fact, we are for it. We are all for it. That is why we are going this path. Because we want the right thing to be done. If the right thing is done, we go to the polls and the right person is elected. Good for it. We have no problem. We all accept it in good faith. But if we had folded our arms and then go into the register, do deep soul searching of the register, all these anomalies would have passed.
All right, a quick one for me.
And an illegal person would have been elected for it.
All right, your point is made there. The National Peace Council, you just heard their secretary saying that they are still optimistic that you'll put pen to paper on the peace pact. Are you going to sign it?
Ben, our position has not changed.
Your position has not changed?
As we speak now, it has not changed. We still maintain.
He says 2 out of the 6 have been fulfilled and they are going to stay with you to sign. It means as of now, you are not signing.
Our position has not changed, Ben. We are still on it.
Dr. Rashid Tanko-Computer, thank you very much for joining the conversation. Let me go to Professor Bafo Ajimandia. Your reaction to the EC's IT consultant and your final thoughts.
Well, I think, first of all, the issue of registration has been a consistent issue of controversy now in this republic. And that suggests strongly that perhaps we need to take a second look at how this registration process should be done. With the Ghana ID, it's very possible technologically to introduce continuous registration, where with a card, once you turn 18, you just walk into any district office of the EC and register yourself. In the same way, with new technologies, we can easily detect dead people and double registration and all that. So if you look at the amount of money and time and energies we expend on dealing with the registration, I think it is worth considering a new approach.
Okay.
That's the first point. The second point about the audit and the IT specialist. Since the 2 dominant parties again consistently raise issues about the register and call for audit, as the NPP did in 2016, I think perhaps we should also consider legislating forensic audit at some point in the registration process, even if you go technology as I suggested earlier. There must be a way to do that kind of audit so that at least it can assure doubters that in fact the register is clean. But I can also say that no amount of effort can make any register of this nature 100% error-free. But at least we can minimize the extent of errors, especially the glaring ones that the NDC may have picked up. So I think that's another consideration we should have. Then finally, as we move on, these days, there's what we call remote interference of the electoral processes. In the US, they've been complaining about the Chinese and the Russians interfering remotely in their processes.
Even now, Iranians, right?
And exactly, lately the Iranians have been accused of seeking to interfere electronically in the process in the US. And the same thing could be true here. So again, that challenges the EC and all of us to again find a way to make that impossible in our case. If it's possible at all to make it impossible, I'm not sure. But that's something that will come up as we move along in our democracy. So these are, I think, three substantive areas. But I think this 4-yearly controversy and fight over the register, we need to find a new approach to registration. And I think the Ghana card offers us, if it is done properly, it offers an opportunity to minimize these controversies. So overall, I think as we move on, as one other panelist said, we have to, again, the NDC should continuously be vigilant, monitoring and sharing with the nation the issues that they discover, and they should be they should be able to approach the EC with their concerns, and the EC should be responsive. As we continue in that dynamic, I'm sure that somehow we can all meet at a point where we can go into this election without needless fights and controversies and conflicts.
Right. Hopefully we get to that point of convergence. Thank you very much, Prof, for your time. Let me wrap with Dr. Kwame Asante. Your final thoughts on these matters, sir.
Yes, I think I'll begin with what a consultant said, that the register is the cleanest. I'm sorry to say I disagree. There has always been an issue with the register. Some saying it's not clean, today is clean, the next day is not, and all that. But the evidence that NDC has adduced relative to this issue tells you that all is not well. So that is the point that we as a society, as a state, we must reflect on, that we should make sure that at all times we do things that will protect the integrity and sanctity of the register. And what do I mean by that? It starts with registration. Political parties and other party actors have over the years abused the process by putting in names that are illegal, that create problems for us. And they all go around to accuse the system of not being in top shape. We can help ourselves by starting with, proper registration, devoid of irregularities and all that. And that is the first step. The second step is that not only should we be passing on CIs from time to time, but the CI must reflect and take into consideration some of the measures that we can put in that would deal with these issues head on, so that the yearly ritual that we come back to accuse the EC of wrongdoing, accuse political parties, will be a thing of the past.
Thank you, Doc, for your final thoughts on this matter. That was Dr. Kwame Asante. He's a political scientist and head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. We also heard Professor Bafo Ajimandua, a former UN governance advisor. Then we had Dr. Rashid Tanko-Computer, Deputy Director of Elections and IT with the NDC. And we had George Amo, who is Secretary to the National Peace Council. Before we get into AM business, the government of Ghana, in collaboration with UNESCO, will host the 2024 Global Conference of the International Day for Universal Access to Information in Accra, Ghana. The two-day conference, which is themed Mainstreaming Access to Information and Participation in the Public Sector, will take place at the Alisa Hotel, North Ridge, from the 1st till the 2nd of October 2024. Information is power, let it flow. Participate, make your voice grow. Universal access for everyone's sake. You can follow the discussion on the Facebook pages of the MOI, that's the Ministry of Information, UNESCO, and the RTI Commission. Of course, today it is a continuation of that event. Ghana, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Syntex is visiting 15 communities, giving them free water. This is to say thank you, Ghana, for making us #1. Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Do you also know that Syntex tanks come in so many colors and was the first to come out with inner white layers? Did you know that? So, if it's not Syntex, forget about it. Now, if you are a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log in to their social media handles. That is at Syntex Ghana, as one word, Syntex Ghana, and nominate your community. The more you nominate, the better chances that they would reach out to your community. Remember, it's SINTEX, Syntex tank. No be any tank be tank. The correct tank be Syntex tank. Syntex tank, are you strong, are you tough? We'll be right back with AM Business. Welcome back on the AM show. It's time now for AM Business. And the National Petroleum Authority says it is engaging LPG marketers to ward off shortages of liquefied petroleum gas going forward. Now, this comes after a shortage of LPG hit some parts of the country. James Shen has been engaging the head of economic regulation at the NPA, that is the National Petroleum Authority, Abbas Tasunti, and he came through with this.
Led to this particular challenge?
Okay, so I'm sure you are talking about the concern that have been raised about the possible shortage of LPG. So actually, there was an operational challenge at some of the depots after the recent LPG vessel that came to discharge, completed discharge. What is done is that when the completion of discharge is done, there has to be a reconciliation at all the depots, and then the quantity certificates are signed off by all parties. But I think there were some unusual losses at some of the depots. I think they discharged about 4 depots, and then they had issues with some of them. The concern was that some of the losses at the depots were above the norm. So the supplier had to discuss with the receivers to agree on what the standard allowable losses are for them to sign off. I think that discussion is what delayed a little bit. So I think I heard concerns being raised that it was store. It's not actually door alone. There were about 4 different depots. All of them had similar issues. As we speak this morning, all those issues have been resolved. The reconciliation has been completed. The quantity certificate at door has been signed now. TFC has been signed. The TMPT has been signed as well. The other depot matrix, as I speak, I just ended a meeting with the supplier. That's also been agreed. It's also been signed. So all the depots, I think the only outstanding depot was Quantum, which has also a way forward has been agreed to agree on what outstanding quantity should be used. So all of that has been signed. The quantities are now being uploaded into the ERDMS so that the BDCs can now sell to the LPGM. So I think in less than an hour, sales should start from the depots, and that should address the concerns about a possible shortage of LPG.
And is there a timeline? You've spoken about the engagement so far. Some are saying in the next 2-3 days also. Is there a timeline? When are we to expect this end?
Oh, actually, like I said, the product's already in the depot, so the reconciliation has been completed now. So the volumes have been uploaded into the ERDMS, and sales will start actually in less than an hour.
Now, there have been a concern. Somewhere last year, I did a similar report on gas shortage, and we're here this time. What is the regulator doing or measures putting in place to ensure that we don't find ourselves in this situation every year?
So actually, one of our main tasks is to ensure that there's always products available for consumers. And I'm sure it is very unusual to hear that there's any shortage of any petroleum products in Ghana. Sometimes when these issues happen, it's an operational issue. As we speak, we have more than 3 weeks of LPG to last. In fact, almost a month. And we've introduced what we call the tender program, LPG tender program, where we import the quantities in bulk for all the suppliers, and they supply to the BIDEX, to the OMCs and the LPGMCs. We've been doing this from the beginning of the year. We've not had any shortage. And because we've coordinated the imports, we don't even expect this. This is the safe cargo that is being imported under the tender. It's like I explained, it was just an operational issue at the depots with regards to the reconciliation, which has been addressed now. So from our end, we always ensure that we do the monitoring, and we are putting in place measures to avert any shortage of petroleum products. So there's no cause for concern at all.
So we should be hopeful that going forward we wouldn't experience such a thing?
Yeah, so actually operational issues are things that can come up. The most important thing is that when they come up, what do we do? And like I've said, this has been resolved, and we will just look at the cause of this and then provide clarity as to how some of these reconciliations are done going forward.
Not to catch you, but one may say, why not be proactive when you know definitely there will be operational issues? Why don't we be proactive to ensure that, you know, what's going forward, we don't find ourselves in such situations?
So I think proactive, yes, there's clarity on some of these issues. Like I said, this is a seed cargo that's being imported under the tender this year. The first 5, we never had any issues. This seed one was from a different supplier, and that's how come I think some of these issues came up. But we've had a meeting. We are going to provide more clarity as to how some of these reconciliations are done going forward, so that we don't have the situation where the supplier comes and there's misunderstanding as to what number should be used for reconciliation. So I think that it's also a learning curve for us. It shows that we have to get every supplier to understand clearly some of these guidelines, and that resolves the issue. So we'll be proactive going forward in terms of letting the suppliers know what the way forward is, and we'll put this clearly on paper.
Well, before we veer into our next conversation, the Energy Commission and the Ministry of Energy, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana TVET Service, presents the 5th edition of the Energy Commission Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge. The challenge aims at developing the research skills of senior high school students and promoting technological innovation in renewable energy. Now, competing fiercely in this thrilling competition are the following schools: Obuasi SHTS, St. James Seminary SHS, Ola Girls SHS, Hantaman Girls SHS, Bando SHS, and Dabokba Technical Institute. Join us for the grand finale on Tuesday, the 8th of October, 2024, at the Accra International Conference Center. You can catch all the live action right here on this channel, Joy News, at 9 a.m. This event is proudly supported by the GIZ, Ashesi University, the French Development Agency, and the VRA. Well, for now, let's get into our conversation. The Ghana Club 100 is back with a bang, and joining me for a conversation on their latest scheme, the latest awards event, we have Mr. Charles Opoku-Mensah, Head PR and Communications at the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Good morning. You see the way he's smiling at me. If you can't see it, it's because we have a story from the past. And there's also Mr. Edmund Ofoli Onyame, Senior Investment Promotion Officer, Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I like your tie.
Thank you.
And your outfit in general.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's pink October, so in a way, and that was the idea.
That was
the whole idea.
That was the whole idea.
Charlie, what's that? But let me come to you, gentlemen. I'll start with you. The Ghana Club 100, it's been there for a long time. Sometimes people have said, oh, is this still there? Is this still vibrant? Tell us a bit about the Ghana Club 100.
Yeah, Club 100 is still there, as you indicated. It started in 1998. And then the first awards were given by our former president, President J.A. Mills, together with the U.S. president, then I think President Bill Clinton.
Yes, yeah, it must have been.
Yes, in 1998. And it was initiated by our then CEO, Mr. Kwesi Ahoy, I think. Yes, during his tenure. And he initiated it, and we've kept it up till now. And the main idea, or the main objective of the Club 100 is to encourage what we call openness in our corporate environment, where companies allow or give opportunity for third party to come in and assess performance. And so it preaches open corporate governance. Club 100 also gears to also encourage what we call excellence in our corporate environment, because we use the Club 100 as a benchmark to assess corporate excellence. And then also we use it to also encourage our corporates to be good corporate citizens, encouraging institutions operating within our business environment to give back or impact the societies in which...
Corporate social responsibility, yes, among others.
Yes.
Yes, and also be in good standing in terms of being compliant with key regulators within the business environment.
Including taxes, GRA, among
Senate, and even sector regulators.
Right.
Yes, and all that. So in a nutshell, this is what Club 100 is about.
In other words, Mr. Ofoli Onyame, it means if you don't meet these benchmarks, you can't be a part of this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I see. But is this sector driven? Is it broad? I mean, are there targeted sectors that you're looking at when it comes to the Ghana Club 100 Awards?
Okay, so as Charles has mentioned, it's the whole idea is to rank the top performing 100 companies. So we are looking at a spectrum of sectors.
Okay.
So we are looking at agriculture, agro-processing, manufacturing, services. Think about
telecommunications in the services
basket. All of it. So in doing the rankings, we also have what we list the sector rankings. So in each of the sectors that companies fall in, they are also ranked accordingly. So it's a spectrum of sectors that we look at.
I see. And with this spectrum of sectors, then the question would come, what is the process for a company to join, to come on board, for example? Not just the awards, but even the Ghana Club 100 proper. Is there an application process? Is there something, or you just take the list, the top performing entities, and then you start from there? What is it like?
Yeah, so we have what we call the eligibility criteria.
Okay.
Then the ranking criteria.
Okay.
So the eligibility criteria, one, the company must be a limited liability company.
Okay.
Two, if you have government stake in the business, it must not be up to 50%, unless the company is listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Okay, so you're targeting private entities?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason we have that eligibility criteria is that so that it creates a leveling playing field. You know, companies that are backed by government, you know, government carries the biggest purse. So, you know, you want to create a level playing field for everybody to compete.
But even there, we see how a lot of the SOEs perform. So it's not necessarily shown. It's not necessarily shown there. That's just why.
So we say if you have government's equity, it must not be up to 50%, unless you are listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Right. Okay.
Then also, you must also be in good standing with all the statutory bodies. So that's what I mentioned.
So those are the criteria?
Yes, that's eligibility.
Eligibility.
That makes you eligible. And then you also must be making profits over a period of time. So, for instance, for 2024, we are looking at performance for 2023, 2022, and 2021.
I see.
3 years. Yes.
Okay.
And so that's the eligibility. And if you tick these boxes, then you can apply.
So if you're in the red as a company, you are not in the black. You are not making gains. You are making losses.
Yeah.
You can fulfill all the other criteria, but this alone will.
Yes, because but I must note that it's cumulative. So you may have done very well in 2021, very, very well in 2022, maybe 2023, not too well. But when we accumulate it, your performance...
You strike a sort of average.
Yes, it should be good. Then from the eligibility criteria, we come to the ranking criteria. So when you tick all the boxes at eligibility and you make it to be able to rank, you file, then we use the ranking criteria to rank the 100.
Oh, I see.
Yes, and that is done by KPMG, our ranking partners.
Right.
So we rank you on profitability, we rank you on size, we rank you on growth, and this year we've added another criteria called impact.
Impact.
And where impact, we mean we are looking at 3 key things. Your leveraging of technology.
Okay.
2, your how you are performing in terms of tax, how you are complying with tax. Your
tax compliance.
And
right.
then the third leg of the impact is your impact within the society, your CSR.
Okay, so tax compliance.
Yes.
Then
technology,
how you are using or evolving with technology,
yes.
And then corporate social responsibility.
Corporate social.
I see. So, anything else you'd like to add on that in terms of how these entities will be selected and ranked? Anything else?
Yes. So, like Charles again mentioned, we've been working with the ranking consultants for a while now, and I
KPMG.
KPMG.
Right.
Must state that because we want to be very independent from the process, we have contracted KPMG to undertake that side of the ranking. So you have companies calling and say, look, is it a paid for? Can we pay and then get an award? No.
Oh, people have come to ask you that.
Yes. What we do is to collate. Because you know some award schemes, people buy tables and they think that because they have bought something, they will definitely be awarded. But that's not the case with the Club 100. The ranking consultants do the due diligence on that side of it. They collate all the things. And as Charles mentioned, the criteria is in 4 key areas: size, profitability, growth, and impact. And with impact, the other leg to it is employability. So we want to be able to tell the company's performance in employing people, and if you look at decent work and things like that, we want to be able to make sure that we are capturing that from corporates. Okay. We have also included what we call a special award. We have been doing it in the past, a special award for CSR. And this is where sometimes the confusion happens. You know, there's a ranking criteria which includes CSR. However, there's a special award which recognizes CSR proper. Okay. And that special award is also done by another ranking consultant. So we are also encouraging all corporates to get involved in that. That particular ranking the deadline for that ranking is on the 4th, which is this Friday. Okay. The ranking of the top 100, and the timeline for that top 100 has already elapsed. It elapsed on the 27th of September. Okay. So we need to put that out very.
We have a lot of companies calling now. You know, the Ghanaian, we opened this off for about a month, and now we have a lot of companies. When we closed it, companies calling. Can we, like, for a whole month? Yeah. So
now the door is closed.
No, it's closed. It's closed now. Okay. And you know, for the financials, we collate audited financials. Okay. So the companies who have filed and have sent financials that are not properly audited, I must say, either, I don't know if Edmond will give them a window to correct it, or
they'll fall through the cracks.
They'll fall through the cracks.
They'll fall through.
Yeah, Club 100 goes.
Edmond, he doesn't. He didn't even say whether they will fall through.
No, because it goes to a very strict process of analysis.
Right.
And we don't give room. So Club 100 is about the only awards we have in the country that we publish how companies perform. The ranking process, everything is published.
Right.
So when you pick it, you know
how that this is what happened.
Yes, with nothing
and that's why you were here, not
exactly,
there. Yes. Or that's why maybe you were not even on the list.
Exactly.
All right.
It's very transparent.
And in other jurisdictions, you would even have, you can go online or pick documents and see lists of the best companies to work in. There are different criteria.
Or the best sectors to work in.
The best sectors to work in. If you go in banking, you'd be able to pick Goldman Sachs and find out, look, this company, where do they fare on all of this?
Yes.
I think it's a little akin to what you're doing. But coming back to you, to both of you, but starting with you, Ofoli Onyame. So as far as these awards are concerned, the entities that will participate, including other participants in the business community, and even those who may follow the events online, what can they expect?
Okay, so the award scheme has been categorized into three chunks. So you have the executive networking session. This is a session where you find corporates really interested because it's like the opening to the wining and dining, where we have conversations. Some businesses are even struck.
Where you get to chi with the big boys.
Exactly, to jam with the big boys. So you have that session, and then the next session is the event itself, where the rankings start, and then you have what we call the executive celebrations, which is after we have done the rankings. Now people want to celebrate their trophies, they want to celebrate their certificates, they want to celebrate their rankings. The top one, the top of the cream would be there to celebrate. The 100th person is also there to celebrate as well. So that's the entirety of the program, and that's what the expectations would be.
Any add-ons, and then you can tell us where and when these awards are.
Yes, I've always, whenever we finish every year one project of Club 100, we go back to the companies and ask them how Club 100 has impacted their operations. And it's amazing to note how it's working on their bottom lines. We've had MDs tell us that I was able to secure this international project because of Club 100. Because
of course, if you have your tax compliance in order, your auditing in order, your CSR and all of that, you are compelled to do it because of this. It impacts the face of your business, obviously.
Yes, so Club 100 has a very strong positive impact on companies' operations. Now, companies tell us that, a lot of them tell us that, okay, if they find out that they are not performing too well, they will not even file for the rankings. Because their clients, when they file, for instance, maybe last year they were number 10. They come in this year and they fall to number 20. They begin to lose business. Because clients think that their company is either going under or something. So Club 100 has a very strong impact on corporate operations. And I encourage our corporate entities to really come on board. Now the rankings are over, but you can still participate. The event is taking place on the 11th of October at the Grand Arena at the Accra International Conference Center. Okay. It starts at 6 p.m. sharp. And our 6 p.m. is our 6 p.m.
6 p.m. is 6 p.m.
Good.
Not, it is Greenwich Meridian time, not time. That's what you're saying?
Yes, proper 6 p.m.
Proper 6 p.m.
And you can, so those who have not filed, companies who didn't get opportunity to file, there is still room to either come on board as a sponsor or participate in the event by purchasing a ticket to participate in the event. They can get a ticket through the short code *365 *2100 hash.
Could you repeat that?
*365 *2100 hash. When you dial this USSD code, it will send you to a page where you can purchase tickets for the event. And then for sponsorships, still the door is open. So you can call Samuel on 0244 855 406 or Yolanda on 0247 600 860. So you can do that to be part of the event.
All right. And the scenes you're seeing on your screens are from last year's event. Wow. That looks lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. And I'm seeing some faces from the GIPC.
Yes.
From past and present.
Yes.
From the GIPC. Onyame,
yes.
Final words, also roping in, you can acknowledge sponsors, media partners.
Okay, I'll leave sponsorship for Charles, but final words would be, this year we are focusing on building local capacity. Okay. So we want to ensure that our Ghanaian businesses and businesses that are doing, companies that are doing business in Ghana are well represented to see what the impact of Club 100 will be on their businesses going forward. Right. And we also want to encourage them to join so that whatever feedback that we can get to improve the process going forward, we'll be able to do that. But everybody is encouraged to attend the event.
Any final
Yes. So for sponsors, I mean, obviously, multimedia has been a long-standing partner in terms of the media sponsorship. So we are grateful to multimedia for backing Club 100 for a long time. This year, they are strongly on board as well. And then for some of our other corporate sponsors, we have B5 Plus, we have KGL Group, we have Ghana Commercial Bank, we have Federated Commodities, Nationwide Insurance, Ghana Link, Delta Airlines, Advanced Savings and Loans, Republic Bank, Casapreco, Special Eyes, BOG, West Coast Gas, VFS Global, and the list continues on and on. So we have a couple of sponsors who are also
and all the others, all protocols observed. Because I don't want to feel, oh, you didn't.
Yeah.
We are grateful to all of you. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the conversation this morning. I've been sitting with Mr. Charles Opoku-Mensah, Head PR and Communications with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, and also Mr. Edmund Ofolionyame, the one who says, you've fallen through the cracks, no coming back. Senior Investment Promotion Officer at the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Nagode. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Well, stay with us. We'll be back in a bit. But before I take that break, hello, Ghana. Your favorite radio stations are back on TuneIn. And you know the ones I'm talking about. Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Inshira FM. All your beloved multimedia group brands are now back on TuneIn. So wherever you are, we've got you covered. Just relax. Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Inshira FM are back on TuneIn. So tune in to the best of news, music, sports, and entertainment from Ghana's top stations. Anytime, anywhere, on TuneIn. Go to the App Store or Google Play Store to download TuneIn and listen to Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, or Inshira FM to stay connected and entertained. Speaking of which, we'll be right back. Do stay. Welcome back, and as we wrap the show, we have a final conversation. Last but not least, Oktoberfest Beer Festival. If you've ever participated in this in Germany, you know what it gets like. But joining me in the studio for a conversation about our version at Georgia EC is Head of Sales with the Labadi Beach Hotel. Good morning.
Good morning, Benjamin.
How are you doing?
I am well. How are you too?
I am also well.
Great.
But let's talk about, the Labadi Beach Hotel briefly before we get into the main conversation. CIMG, you've been doing some great things in there. Tell us about it.
Well, I think the recognition goes to show the kind of impact and dedication and the hard work on the part of the staff and management, and then also the guidance and leadership from the board. And I think when you are recognized with such prestigious honors, then you are motivated to even do more. And so I would like to say to our staff that congratulations to Labadi, and to dedicate this award to our patrons who believe in us and keep coming to us also. And mind you also, our MD was the CIMG Marketing Man of the Year.
So Hospitality Facility of the Year.
And then he also won the Marketing Man of the Year 2023. So it's a great feeling to be in this place.
All right. Let's now focus on Oktoberfest Beer Festival. Give us a general glimpse, overview of what the festival is about.
Well, so this is a festival that is really, really an old festival, Bavarian style, that typically happens in Munich, Germany. And every year you have in excess of 6 million people traveling globally to Munich to be part of the festival, because it's something that is really, really amazing. And at Oktoberfest Beer Festival, there's a lot of fun activities. There's a lot of things to do. Here at Labadi, in the past years, we've been doing it. And in fact, when we do our post-event analysis and the feedback that we generate, supposes that there's something that has come to stay. And the demand for it is really, really something that is going up. And here we are again. I remember last year I was in the studios to talk about it.
Right.
And we're here also. So it's happening. It's happening this Friday and Saturday at Labadi Beach Hotel.
All right. Tell us about your culinary offerings. It's not just about coming to drink beer. So tell us about it.
Absolutely. So Oktoberfest is typically German tradition. We see this as promotion of culture also. German culture, Ghanaian culture. Because we're talking about food. It's basically German traditional food. You're talking your sausages, the variety of sausages that we have, your bread. At every German event, you can have like hundreds of bread, different types of bread, your salads, your pork, your chicken, and everything else. But having said that, even though this is traditionally German food, we make options available for other people who might not find this to be interesting. So you can also have something from our menus. And our team, led by the head chef, Chef Akwete, and the team are fired up in terms of preparation towards this, because there's a lot of things that we do. And you can expect the best of culinary experience this Friday and Saturday when you come to Labadi for Oktoberfest.
Who's coming? I know usually there are quite a number of patrons and some big shots come there? Whom can we expect to
certainly.
see?
I mean, you have this is typically a German and an European sort of festival, and so you'll find a mix of crowd. But most importantly, to mention that you have envoys and people in missions from the diasporan community.
I know the German embassy will be there in full force.
The point is that you have the German
Mr.
ambassador.
Kroll and others
Mr.
will be there.
Unfortunately, he's out of town now. He's asked that his deputy will do the signifying, which is a tapping of the cake to open the festival.
Right.
And so we'll be happy to have the people from the German community. You have the Americans. You have it's more of the diplomatic corps who are coming. But again, people who have also had some relations with Germany know about this festival. And anybody that's looking for fun, anybody that's looking to have some good German food and good beers, the place to be is Labadi Beach Hotel this Friday.
All right.
So it's a very, very good crowd. And that is also a platform where you can also network. I was telling my other colleague that somebody gave me feedback and said he came to Oktoberfest one of the years, I think 2-3 years ago, and he met a contact that has really helped his business.
I see.
Yes.
Observers are asking,
yeah,
are there tickets? Is it free? If there are tickets, how much are we looking at?
Very, very well. I mean, we have always tried to make this popular, and we don't sell tickets right now. But I guess it will get to that stage because also there's a lot of cost that goes into it. Right. So now it's just a free entry to we're having this at the sub pavilion, but you'll need to book your table. Otherwise, you won't find a table. I mean, people are comfortable just coming to stand. You know, the guys coming to stand, have their drinks and all that. But if you want, then you may have to call our lines at 0249 532 866 and then 0244 747670. Our team are on standby. You call, you make your reservations, and we'll see you on Friday.
Okay.
But the point is, one thing that makes it so entertaining is the band that we come in. We have the Bayan Boys band who are coming in today.
The what band?
Bayan Boys.
Oh, okay, the Bayan Boys band.
So they fly in and they are going to provide entertainment at the festival this weekend.
Thank you so much, George. You see as head of sales at the Labadi Beach Hotel. I like your glasses, by the way.
Thank you.
Off-white, right?
Thank you.
Before I go, let me quickly do these 2 birthday messages. A special birthday to a man who is the definition of selflessness, one who helps anyone who comes along. May God richly bless you. May He give you every good thing you give to people tenfold. You're such a selfless leader. And that is happy 60th birthday, bountiful blessings to you. That is Honorable Joseph Kujo, MP for Efia and Minister for Public Enterprises. That is from your business mentee, Samuel Kojo Breaks, who is with the team. Again, happy birthday to Kelvin Jojo Esienyi. Continue to age in good health, wisdom, and prosperity. It's from your father, Engineer Ebenezer Kofi Esienyi, CEO of the Ghana Grid Company Limited. That is Gridco. To both of you, Joseph Kujo, and to Kelvin Jojo Esienyi, happy birthday to you both. And that's the celebratory note on which we cap off the AM show this morning. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. It's been a pleasure coming your way. Do stay for Joy News Desk. Up next.